This is Ben of BS3 Radio, and I wanted to share a podcast with you guys called Life of a Lifer, hosted by Designed Conviction founder Taylor Tom Conley, who was wrongly convicted at the age of 20 and is currently serving life in prison. This podcast tells the world about what happens to those serving long-term sentences in prison. Taylor opens up about his life with a unique perspective, one that you may not hear in the media, the human perspective, not only from himself, but he also invites others to share their stories and experiences. They talk about how they got there and what motivates them to keep living for a better tomorrow. So check out the Life of a Lifer podcast on the website, lifeofalifer.com. Also, you can listen to the podcast on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and other major platforms. Also, Design Conviction has a collaborative EP album with artist Seth Anthony. It's called Free Taylor. It was released on November the 7th, and it features Bubble Sparks and artist Burden. The music is a mixture of rap and rock, and the lyrics tell the story of Taylor's life, featuring great songs by Taylor himself. So you can check out the EP on Apple Music and Spotify. Check out this promo clip that gives you more detail on this EP.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Seth Anthony here. I have a really cool project coming up called Free Taylor EP. So anybody that's been following me knows I was incarcerated, I was in prison, I was an addict. So I like to reach people that went through the same things that I did. Taylor Conley reached out to me, and he had all these songs that he's written. He's doing life in prison. No way possible to make this thing come to life. So I thought it'd be a really cool project if I took his songs and put my own spin on it. And between both of us working together, he has songs written on there. I wrote songs with him, and we have Burden, we have Bubble Sparks. We have a really, really cool EP, a cool project coming out. You know what I mean? Someone that's behind bars, man. So it means a lot to me. I know it's going to mean a lot to you guys. November 7th, it's coming out. Y'all check it out.
All right. Welcome, everyone, to Week 11 Fantasy Football Show. I'm Ben, a.k.a. BS3 of BS3 Radio. We got some guests that are going to be coming on. We'll be talking about our teams, how our teams are doing, talking about sitter starts, answering your questions, and we'll talk about some sleepers. So we got a great show planned for tonight. You will be seeing myself and some other guests for the next couple of hours. Make sure to drop some comments. Also, like and subscribe if you're on YouTube. We'd love to continue to build a relationship with you, and hopefully, you'll get something from this. So let me bring in my man Jordan Rosario. Jordan.
Hey, how are you doing, my man? Speaking of relationships, I must say, over these past couple of months that I got to know you, we've had a fantastic relationship, and looking forward to talking some fantasy football with you today.
Definitely. And let me bring in my man Akeem Richens. Hey, Rich, what's going on, man?
PS3, what's going on, brother? I really appreciate you having me on your show tonight. I've been a fan of yours for years, man. I seen you. You look like you creeping up on 1,000 episodes, man. Congratulations, man. That's a grind, and that's a consistency that I admire, man. I appreciate you having me on.
Definitely.
Also, nice to meet you, King Rich.
Nice to meet you, bro. Nice to meet you.
And you guys got a New York connection. Hey, Rich is from, or he's in Buffalo, or was from Buffalo, right?
Yeah, I'm from the city. I'm from Brooklyn, New York, originally.
No way.
Yeah. I'm from Brooklyn, New York, originally. I just recently moved to Connecticut. New York, 3 kids. The prices is the inflation is crazy. So Connecticut is a little cheaper.
It's a little cheaper. I'll give you that. But you know what? I live out in Denver, Colorado, so I get it. New York is so expensive right now.
Yes.
All right, and let me bring in. We got Chris Morning, man. We used to work together at Home Depot, man, back in the day. So he wanted to come on tonight as well. And we will have another guest coming on, but let me bring in Chris. Chris, what's going on? Chris, can you hear us?
What's going on, Chris?
What's going on, Chris? You see us? You hear us?
Can you hear us?
I can hear you. I don't know if y'all can hear me.
Yeah, we
can
hear you.
hear you now. Yeah.
All right, cool.
All right. So let's just do the introductions first because we got a pretty diverse group. Also, we have one more, Jelani. He has a podcast as well. He'll be coming on here in just a minute. But Jordan, talk about yourself. What you do, and thank you for coming on.
Absolutely, and Ben, I appreciate the opportunity to come on here and talk some more fantasy football, especially with some new soon-to-be pals of mine. But for me, I got started, I want to say around April 12th of this year. So I have two fantastic co-hosts, Leo Rydell, Desmond Lawrence. I'm going to tell a quick story. So about 2 years ago, I meet these two particular individuals at a random mixer event with my that was based off of a launch party of a company called The Social, which is a matchmaking service. It's already taken off in Denver, Colorado. And I'll tell you what, for my people out in New York, for my people out on the West Coast, this is going to be not only the best matchmaking service in Denver, but also in America and across the world. But going back to the main story here. So I meet these two individuals at this random mixer party. Like, I was trying to meet women of all things, but I ended up meeting two I ended up meeting these two fantastic guys, and we were talking about this idea for the Keeping It 100 podcast back then. And then it took us about 1.5 years, but we finally got that launched on April 12th. We've had to take a kind of a break as of recently, only because some things have happened. I've actually gotten into a new thing, Forex trading, which I won't get into a whole lot, but that's kind of a new thing that I've been working on. But ever since that, so I do that. I also, on Saturdays, didn't get to do it this Saturday, but I'm also DJ Storytime, where I play a random mix of hip-hop songs, electronic songs such as house, trance, dubstep, all of that. So got a lot of stuff going on. And, like I said, I'm just happy to be here, talk some fantasy football, especially with my pal from the X Squad radio network, Jelani Bodie, which we are a part of a fantasy football league together, and I'll be winning the championship for.
Okay. All right. Hey, Rich, man, we go back probably, I don't know, 3-4 years ago when we kind of connected. But talk about what you do, built in Buffalo and everything.
Yeah, man. Like you just alluded to, we met through social media. Thank God for social media, right? We get to network with so many different people without actually meeting them. But yeah, we connected, me and myself, BS3 connected about 3 years ago. I've been doing this podcasting thing overall since about December of 2014. It was something that I always wanted to get into. It was something that I always thought I can do and do well. So I finally decided to get into it. I was doing a lot of different podcasts on a lot of different shows, but last year I decided, you know what? Let me do something of my own. And I came out with something called Built in Buffalo. Built in Buffalo is like an underground brand where we discuss everything and anything Buffalo Bills, and we keep up with all transactions. So as you might know now, I'm huge Buffalo Bills fan, and it's going well so far, man. We've been out. We just celebrated our 1 year anniversary this past Wednesday.
Congratulations.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. We accumulated over 28,000 followers in 1 year, man. So we're small, but we're coming up, and we're coming up rapidly, man. And I'm just blessed to be doing what I love to do.
Yeah, man, you guys are killing it, man. That's one thing I've learned. If you're doing YouTubing, like, you got to really zoom in on one particular thing, and that's how these channels blow up. If it's about pets or the Bills, and so shout out to you and what you guys have been doing. All right, Chris. We go way back too. Glad you were able to step on tonight. But what do you do?
I'm actually I work for the Parks Department in a city around here.
Nice.
Basically doing football, baseball, soccer fields, helping out the kids.
Nice. Chris love the kids. Nice. All right, let's.
That's my wife. So
I love it. I love it. I need a laugh right now.
yes, the fighting orphan.
Let me bring on our last guest, Jelani JB Bodie of the Wait a Minute Show. His show just ended. Hey, Rich's show just ended too. So appreciate you guys for coming on. But what's going on, Jelani?
What's up, fellas? Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
We can hear you.
Awesome.
So what's doing a little bit of introduction. So talk about yourself and what you do.
Oh man. So yeah, I've been podcasting since 2016. I started in the summer. Always wanted to do it and finally got up the guts. Shout out to Jay Fish. If y'all know him, he kept telling me to do it. And I did. I started doing the pre-recordeds. He was like, you need to go live, man. You need to go live. So I was like, all right, I'll try it. And then ever since then, man, it's like I've been loving it. So been doing that. And the great part about it is like all this stuff that's happened since it. I've met a bunch of great people, started my own little thing, with my toy drive and all that. And it came from, just putting my foot out there and doing the podcast.
Nice. All right. Well, we got the crew here. We're going to be talking fantasy football tonight. We all play fantasy football. I'm in two leagues right now. And also I've been doing a little bit of DraftKings and getting whooped in some DraftKings as of late. So I'm going to take a little break this week. Got to get my money back up again. But I'm horrible in one league, and then I'm like 7-3 in another league. But talk about the leagues you guys are in. Before I do that, let me give a shout out to Fabian Vasquez. He's watching on YouTube.
What's going on, Fabian?
Hey, whatever questions you guys have, put them. That's what we're here for. That's what we do on this Saturday night show. We answer the questions and we talk about fantasy football. He said he picked up Dez, so we'll touch on that in a minute. I think that's a good idea. Depends on what else you have on the team, though, because Dez isn't the same. Dez is not going to be getting the same looks as what he used to. So we'll touch on that in a minute. But talk about your teams. Jordan, how's your team doing so far?
So I'll talk first about my ESPN fantasy league. So I am 4-6 in both of them. So not the start that I need, especially as we wind down towards the playoff seasons. But I've got 4 games left. I got to stay on my A game. There's definitely a possibility for me to still look at these playoffs, and then the most important one that I just alluded to just a moment ago, that I'm with my guy Jelani Bodie, the Wait a Minute Show. I am not doing so well in that one. 3-7, but again, plenty of time to get some stuff done. I'm still waiting to get that championship necklace, so everything is going to be just A-okay.
Jelani, what you got to say about that?
Well, Jordan is right, because I was just talking on the show that I was in 10th place last week, and just with one win, I jumped up to 5th place. So in that league, like, everyone is separated maybe a game or two. So Jordan is playing me this week, and
yes,
one win can catapult him, into the playoffs. So that's how tight it is, right now. So yeah, 3-6 is still good. 3-6 is good. You just got to win, and get on the streak. But yeah, I'm in 4 leagues right now, and so I got 2 NFL.coms. I got 1 Yahoo, and then I got this custom league that I play in. That's my big money league, where we do IDPs, and I mean it's literally like GM work. Like, you have the actual cap of the NFL. So I think it was $188 million. So you sign people to contracts, you can franchise tag people, rookie drafts, you can extend people, and it's just a different format, because then, you got to manage your money, not only for that year, but you got to manage your money for the future. Because you could be just like anybody else. You pay a guy too much, and then you cut him, and you got to take a cap hit. And then now, you're under the gun or something like that. So it's pretty interesting. It keeps you on your toes.
Nice. All right, Chris, how many leagues you in? What are you doing?
This year I'm only in 2. I had to cut it back from the 6 from last year.
Ooh.
My Yahoo league, 6-4. I lost Dak, and that kind of hurt because it's a 12-person league. No quarterbacks left. So I'm like, kind of hanging on there. My ESPN league is our money league, which my wife with the lollipop is in. We're actually both 7-3, but 2 of my losses are to her.
Oh wow!
Really?
So I don't know if
Ooh.
she's like actually digging into that stuff when I'm at, but I'm like, there ain't no way I'm losing to her twice.
She probably been looking over your shoulder while you picking up players and stuff like that.
Yeah, better draft than I did.
You talking in your sleep? She's like, who you're playing? Who you're playing?
You want that money?
All right.
What you want?
Yeah. All right, hey Rich, how many leagues you in?
Hey Chris, I see the lollipop rolling around, but I haven't seen your wife yet. It's okay if that's yours. You know, it's definitely okay. but you know, I'm a highly competitive person, so I was in 4 leagues last year and I didn't make the playoffs in any league. So I was like, you know what? Let me slim down a little bit. So I'm only in 1 league, my fantasy Yahoo Fantasy League. And right now I'm doing well. I'm in first place. I'm 8-2. But my main issue right now is the running back position. I don't have. I'm getting by right now with waiver wire pickups and guys doing well on a particular night. I just picked up Carlos Hyde because Chris Carson was hurt and it benefited for me a little. So I know at some point that may come back to bite me in the playoffs. But right now, Devontae Adams, DeAndre Hopkins, and Josh Allen is really carrying my team.
Yeah, and that's been a hard point, you know, the entire year. Injuries, obviously, and then COVID, which is affecting a lot of teams if you're playing fantasy. But yeah, the running back spot has been the hardest. Saquon Barkley, Zeke has not been Zeke this year. You don't have the traditional guys. CMC, which is out again this week, which we'll touch on that. But the first thing we got in the chat here is I picked Dez. He said he picked Dez up. Let's talk about Dez, which is he got activated. It's the second week, but again, this is Dez is like a second tier wide receiver on this team. Lamar Jackson's already got targets. He's already got Snead. Mark Andrews is one of his favorite targets. Hollywood Brown. So how many looks or what's you guys' take on Dez coming aboard and Fabian picking up Dez? Is that a good idea? Share your thoughts on that. Whoever wants to jump in first.
So I'm sorry. Did you want to go first?
Go ahead.
Okay. So here's my thing about Dez. It kind of reminds me of how Antonio Brown is fitting in with this New England offense. With Dez Bryant, I could see him getting a few more potential targets because when I look at the Baltimore Ravens, there's not a wide receiver that screams out to me, okay, you're the number 1 guy, you're the number 2 guy, like that sort of thing. So when I look at when we look at some of the scheduled matchups that are coming up, the Titans, that's a relatively good passing matchup for Baltimore. So Dez Bryant could see a few looks here and there. Am I thinking he's going to get as many targets as he used to be in Dallas at that particular week? No. So I'd probably sit him in the bench for that week. Then I'd kind of avoid him for the Steelers just because of how good the Steelers have been, especially that defense. But this is where I'm going to start Dez Bryant. You see, after the Steelers, then we get to the Cowboys. And the Cowboys are playing in Baltimore. And listen, it was an anomaly. It was an anomaly that the Pittsburgh Steelers offense just played terribly when they played against the Cowboys. So, give this Baltimore Ravens some credit. They are actually going to play very well, I believe, against Dallas in their home stadium. So that's when I really start to think about getting Dez Bryant going. And then look at some of these other matchups. The Browns. Remember, the Ravens blew out the Browns in their first matchup, so I definitely look at Dez Bryant potential there. Jacksonville Jaguars, no one really thinks about anything about Jacksonville, so go ahead and start Dez Bryant in that too. Giants, really, come on, it's the Giants. So you're going to start Dez Bryant in that too. And then the Cincinnati Bengals, come on, man, do I need to say any more? You're going to start him in that too. So besides these next 2 weeks that are coming up, in my opinion, is when we start to get into those final 5 weeks, especially, when we're thinking playoffs too, Dez Bryant fits in perfect.
Yeah, that's a good point. A good point. And I think with Dez, he still has the skills, obviously, because if you've seen any of his workout tapes, you see that he can still run routes. He still has the ability. But now it's just a matter of, is Lamar going to look his way? I think against the Cowboys, definitely. I think he's going to get some looks there. Any other games? I don't know. I don't know how productive he's going to be. But, hey, Rich, I think you were going to chime in.
Yeah, I have to agree with what you were saying. I'm not sure how effective Dez Bryant is going to be with Baltimore this season. We heard Hollywood Brown complain about his frustrations in his role on the offense with Baltimore. We've seen opposing defenses say that Lamar Jackson looks to two guys, Hollywood Brown and Mark Andrews. So anybody else besides those two names, I have a hard time picking up as far as skill position wide receivers in the Baltimore Ravens offense. Right now, I feel that Dez Bryant is just a name.
All right, Chris, you want to add on to that?
You're not wrong. He is a name right now. I did pick him up once out of nostalgia. Don't get me wrong. Well, I was a huge Dez fan. But Lamar is someone who he seems like he needs a season of work with him because he's not completely accurate. He's more still, it seems like he likes to run. And then when he has to throw, it's hit or miss, which I know most of them are, but it's more misses, it seems like, than it is hits. So with Dez, he needs someone there who can actually put the ball on him, like Romo did, or even Dak did the first year.
Yeah, I agree. Jelani, you want to add anything onto that?
Yeah. What are you actually trying to get from this is my question. If you're trying to fit him in like Jordan was talking about, all right, I see the Cowboys coming or something like that, then maybe, you got someone who may be out or you got an injury or something. But just like all the fellows alluded to, is that his guys are Mark Andrew, his guy is Hollywood Brown, and then the other thing is that they're getting Mark Ingram back, so they're gonna get back to that three-headed monster or four-headed monster, if you want to call it, between Mark, Lamar, Gus, and J.K. Dobbins, and revert back to that. So for Dez, the other thing, I know he looks good on tape. But there's a lot of guys that look good on tape, out there where ain't nobody covering them, True. So, and then you guys alluded to as well, which was a great point, is that he hasn't had any time, Antonio Brown, that's different. He did at least have a little time with Tom Brady, and there was some stuff that they ran, and he was spending some time with Tom Brady, in the offseason. Dez wasn't spending any time with Lamar. So if you're trying to have him maybe for the future for a certain situation or situational game, then yes. But if you're trying to plug and play him every week, I would stay away from Dez Bryant.
Yeah. We all kind of hit the nail on the head there.
And let me be clear about my stance on Dez Bryant. So I did say I was kind of more the positive guy saying, I think it's a good pickup, but that's really only for the flex option. I'm not considering him, WR1 or WR2 by any stretch of the imagination. I just think during these last 5 weeks, there are some really favorable matchups for the passing offense for Baltimore specifically. I mean, we just alluded to Cowboys. The Browns are always hit and miss when it comes to defense. The Jaguars are always miss with the defense. The Giants, the Bengals, again, these are pretty missed defenses in my opinion. So if you're looking for scoring opportunity, if you're looking for points for this Baltimore Ravens offense, if you're looking for a chance for Dez Bryant to be involved in this game, I would say it's those last 5 weeks that Dez Bryant has a good chance for. But I'm definitely sitting him on the bench for these next 2 weeks that are coming up.
Yeah. All right, so let me give a shout out to Overton Claiborne. He's tuning in on Facebook. Thank you for coming through. Drop your questions, sitter starts, anything you may have. CMC is out again. Again, I said this last week at probably this exact same time. If you didn't cut Mike Davis, you were smart because CMC is out again. Mike Davis did not have a good week last week, which kind of pissed me off a little bit because I started him and he gave me like 4 points. So I'm a little nervous on starting Mike Davis this week. But if you guys been sleeping under a rock, CMC is out. Jelani, what you gonna say?
It's in his hand.
Well, I'll say this: Mike Davis might have disappointed you, but you know how sometimes in life, things align for you, and you're like, "This is what I needed." And my Detroit Lions are on the schedule this week.
Good luck.
So I think Mike Davis is going to be all right. I mean, Dalvin Cook just torched us. Some other Gibson. I had Gibson on my team last week. He gave him 2 touchdowns. Could have been 3 touchdowns. But I forgot the other guy from Washington got a touchdown. So Mike Davis is going to be all right this week.
How many did any of you guys have CMC on your team by a show of hands? Me either.
No.
Me either. I went to Saquon Barkley route, and you see how that went. He got hurt with the first or second week. But anybody want to touch on CMC this year? If anybody has had him in fantasy, it's been a struggle. But as long as you picked up Mike Davis, you might have been good.
I think CMC just needs to sit out this year. I mean, this is his second injury coming up now. If you're Carolina and you've invested this much money in CMC, by the way, he just signed an extension like I alluded to on a different fantasy show. So you want to make sure that investment is saved long-term. This is a losing season for the Carolina Panthers. What are they, 3-7 right now? I really don't have a strong feeling they're making it in the playoffs. So if I'm Carolina, I am resting CMC, getting him ready for next year, letting him, do his necessary rest. Do I trust Mike Davis as a running back? Listen, I know they're playing the Detroit Lions, and I know how good the Detroit Lions have been in defense, and I know I'm saying that facetiously, so bear with me. But, even so, we've been hot on Mike Davis. We've been saying start him, and for these past couple of weeks, he has not performed the way that we have wanted him to perform. So I'm really thinking what we saw was just a flash in the pan from this guy. I don't know about Mike Davis at this point, and I get it. He's not playing the strongest run defense, but I am going to be very cautious when starting him.
Yeah. Go ahead, Rich.
That's interesting right now. I have Mike Davis, and I heard Jelani talk about Detroit, and while he was talking, I inserted him into the starting lineup. But I'm curious to know. Like, I have a question myself because I have a dilemma. I'm facing I need a starting running back. I have Mike Davis, Duke Johnson, and Le'Veon Bell, and I don't know which direction to go my damn self. So maybe y'all can help me.
So here's my. It's so tough because I don't even know about Duke Johnson, to be honest with you. So I'm looking at Le'Veon Bell and Mike Davis specifically. The thing about Le'Veon Bell is he's not going to – I'll say this. I'll admit Mike Davis is going to have a lot more touches than Le'Veon Bell. And, when I look at defensive strength or lack thereof, the Raiders and the Lions are very comparable. But when I look at just the offenses in general, I think Kansas City has more of a potent offense. They have the ability to, and especially the way that the Raiders treated Kansas City last time around, I think Kansas City is going to want to smack these guys a bit. So, in my opinion, I'm actually going to go start Le'Veon Bell because I think by the time this game rolls its course, I think it's going to be a blowout game. It's going to be over by at least the third or fourth quarter, and you're going to have the potential to see Le'Veon Bell a bit more.
Here's what I'll say. You said Duke Johnson, Le'Veon Bell, and Mike Davis.
Yep.
I would go with Mike Davis. Le'Veon Bell is going to be taking a little bit of a back seat. Now, I know he's still Le'Veon Bell, but Mike Davis, the thing about him is which made him into this fantasy kind of giant that he's been this year is catching out of the backfield. So that means he can do both, run and catch. I think he's gonna have a bounce back week. Plus, Teddy B is not playing this week, so I don't know who. I don't know who's playing. Maybe PJ
breaking
Walker.
news: Teddy B's not playing.
Check down City. Check down City.
He is not. So PJ Walker. I don't know if PJ Walker's starting. I think the other guy is Will Greer. Either one of those, it doesn't matter. Mike Davis is going to be needed this week, so I will go Mike Davis.
And if I can add on just a quick thing for Mike Davis, because you're right, he had some stinker games, but the teams that he played where he did not have great games, he had great games against the Chargers, against the Cardinals, and of course against the Falcons. But after that, he played Chicago, New Orleans. Then he played Atlanta again, but it was the Atlanta without Dan Quinn, and Raheem Morris was calling the defense. And Kansas City is a better defense this year than what they were last year. And I always say Tampa was always a good defense. It's just they couldn't survive pick six Jameson. It's just like at some point you're going to get tired, because if your quarterback keep throwing the ball and turning it over and you keep going out on the field, you're going to be giving up points, but they're not getting that now with Brady. So I just think he went through, a series of teams that do have a pretty good defense. And now he's hitting that Detroit, Minnesota, and then they'll have a bye. CMC will probably be back by then, but then they still got Denver as well.
Yeah. Chris, you want to add anything onto that?
It seems like lately his kind of down games been when Samuel's got more involved. They do those little swing arounds, and he gets it more than he does. So it seems like, okay, do you want to try to go get those extra points with Samuel, or are you going to take your shot with Davis?
Good point.
Great point. Yeah.
So I think that helped you a little bit.
Yeah, it did. It did.
But I think, to me, and this is just me thinking about like an NFL player, if you have a down week, the next week, if you look at Tom Brady and the Bucs, they had a horrible game. I said it last week. They're going to have a breakout game. And then me, being the dummy, I didn't start Tom Brady, Gronk, or Ronald Jones. So that whole thing screwed me. But I'm expecting Mike Davis to have a better game this week. Rich, you was going to say something?
No, man. No, you got it.
Okay. All right. So, yes, Teddy B is out. So when we talk about quarterback options, if you had Teddy Bridgewater and for some odd reason you didn't have a backup, which I don't know what you're doing with your life if you don't have a backup quarterback in fantasy football. But I don't know who's starting in this place. So I would leave Carolina alone. But there are some that will be available. Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill will be starting, which we got to talk about this. I thought Jameis should have got that call. Come on. Taysom Hill is a gadget guy. Okay, Chris, you were going to say something.
He is a gadget guy, but he's also in my tight end spot right now.
They did authorize him as a tight end, which to me is
and I'm like, that ain't gonna work. Okay, that worked. So,
Jelani, you want to say something?
He's a gadget guy, but the one thing I'm thinking is like, has Sean Payton been holding on to something and not telling us? Because you paid this guy for a gadget guy. You paid this guy handsomely this past, season, off season. And I just think if there's anybody that knows how to use him, it's Sean Payton, and he will find, the wrinkle, or he'll find the niche or something like that where Taysom Hill, can be successful. The funny part, though, about the tight end position is like, I think this is the last week he's eligible for that. And then it goes away. So it's like, how crazy is that? Like, he's not even eligible for the entire year. But I think it's really, they had planned for him to be the backup, and they at least are going to see that. And I hate to say it, being here in Atlanta, is that they're like, hey, if we stink the first half, we still got a chance of coming back in the second half.
True.
Because we saw it with other teams. They struggle, and then somehow, some way, they pick it up, in the second half.
Yeah, and I think to piggyback off of what you said, Sean Payton is that guy. He is going to try to hide whatever. He's going to try to catch the other teams off guard, but also he's looking at the future. He knows Drew Brees isn't playing after this year, so he's probably going to try to confuse every last team to not know what's going to be going down next year. Plus, he's from that Parcells that Parcells pedigree, which Parcells was one of those guys where he would, be the trickery and the confusion and all that kind of stuff. So let's talk about QBs. Let's talk about QB options that may be available. I've got 3. Now I got this off of the Score app. Kirk Cousins versus Dallas. I do not and probably will never like Kirk Cousins. Besides that soundbite that he made a while back.
You like that?
Yeah, you like that? Exactly.
I haven't liked it since.
Exactly. But him playing Dallas, to me,
I do like that.
Is a pretty good look because Dallas has not played well defensively. The other guy on the list was Alex Smith versus Cincinnati. I wouldn't start Alex Smith at all just because he's still limping. I mean, he came back from this injury. Everybody's like, it's a great comeback, but he's still Alex Smith that hasn't played in like a year and a half. The other option is Taysom Hill. But give me, any options. Jordan, I'll go to you first. QB options.
So I hate saying this because this particular guy is playing against my team tomorrow, but Tua Tagovailoa is available and he has only been picked up 36.2% rostered. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and add him on just as I'll drop the Dallas Cowboys defense because why the heck do I even have the Dallas Cowboys defense in there? But anyway, Tua Tagovailoa, he's had a couple of very decent games where, he didn't do too much against the Los Angeles Rams, but he picked it up against the Cardinals. He, I forget who their last opponent was, but I think they won that game too, if I'm not mistaken. Let me go ahead and get that. Okay, so he also won against the Chargers. So, he's proven himself to be a winner so far. 3-0 with this Miami Dolphins team. So it looks like that call, to put him in, to bench Ryan Fitzpatrick is starting to pay off for Miami. So they're a sneaky playoff team. They're wanting to get another win so that they can, get that playoff push. Denver, unfortunately, has not been playing well. We just lost to, as Jelani put it, the Atlanta Falcons. So, we're reeling right now. And this is an opportunity to really think about starting Tua.
Yeah,
I hate saying it, but there we go.
I agree. All right, before we go to you, Rich, we do have a question in from YouTube. Alpi, I believe that's Alpi. Thank you for the question. He says, who do I start out of this lineup? QB1, Watson or Rodgers? Okay, that's a very good question. RB spots, what is that? Chark, I don't know, CEH or Edwards-Helaire, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, or James Robinson. Wide receiver spot, Claypool or Ridley, anyone listed, or Taysom Hill as far as flex spot. So I'll Rich, I'll go to you first to answer that since you were next up anyway.
All right, for QB1, Watson or Rodgers, I like Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, they're playing Indianapolis Colts. Indianapolis Colts are a very good defense. But at the same time, I'm going to go with the odds and take Aaron Rodgers with that spot. I just don't like Houston. I like Deshaun Watson. I don't like that team over there. I don't like the consistent inconsistencies I see from Houston. So that's right. I'm going to go the route of Aaron Rodgers. As far as CHE and James Robinson, the Jacksonville Jaguars are not a good team, but we know for sure that James Robinson is going to get the ball consistently. CHE, he may or may not get touches on any particular week, so I would go James Robinson for that spot in terms of the running back position. We talk about Claypool or Ridley in the flex spot. I'm a big Chase Claypool fan. You know, I really love Chase Claypool. I'm a big fan of his. I know the Pittsburgh Steelers have a lot of different guys they can go to with James Washington and Deontay Johnson, and Juju. But once again, Claypool gives that big playability, and I'm going to go the latter here. I know a lot of people would probably go with Ridley, but I would go with Claypool in that in that flex spot. And I have to see Taysom Hill. I gotta see it to believe it. You know, if you want to pick him up, put him in the stash just in case he blows up and there's a hot commodity the week after, then that's fine. But I cannot play Taysom Hill until I see what the hell is going on with Sean Payton and this New Orleans Saints offense.
Right, right. And just to add to that, Payton could just be saying Taysom Hill is a starter, put him in for a series, and then put Jameis in. Like we don't know. We have no clue.
It's possible.
We have no clue. Chris, I'll go to you. I don't know if you have similar answers to that or not.
No, everything he said is what I would do. I picked up Claypool week 3, week 4, and stashed him away. And then as soon as they hit Dallas, he was in the game. Just I'm a fan. Come on now.
Yeah,
but Lee, he's hurt on and off. It seems like, so you can't really trust it. Rodgers, I haven't trusted Watson since last year when he started messing up.
Yeah, and the fact is, they just have a horribly ran team. Period.
They do.
They don't have a good offensive line. They traded away their best wide receiver, and then they expect him to win every game with his legs and his arm with a horrible line. It's impossible.
I think O'Brien really screwed them up when they traded, Hopkins for, Johnson in a second. That was dumb.
Yeah.
That was a really dumb trade. Really dumb.
But you know what? I don't blame him. I blame the Houston Texans organization for giving him the keys to putting him in position to do that in the first place. Because he hasn't shown anything to deserve an upgrade, an uptick in positions, a promotion. Correct. So
exactly at a regular job, if you suck, there's no way that they're going to say we're going to make you the customer service representative and the customer service manager. Here you go. You've done a horrible job, but we're going to give you 2 keys, even though you can't handle 1 key properly. So. to add on, I would do the same thing pretty much Rich said, except I would actually go Ridley because Pittsburgh Steelers, the wide receiver, I think is crowded. You never know who it's going to be. Could be Claypool, but you just don't know. I would go with Ridley, and then with your flex spot, you're in a great spot, Albie, because you got Edwards-Helaire and you got James Robinson, so you can do put either one of them. I would not put Taysom Hill in the flex spot because this is Sean Payton. You just never know what's going to happen. All right. Anyone else want to add on to that one?
Yeah, I'll take it. So Ben, Jelani, Chris, and I am so sorry. My Buffalo guy. Let me get you. I forgot.
Akeem. Now you good, Akeem.
Akeem. Sorry. I'm sorry, Akeem. So guys, let me tell y'all a story. So Rodgers is going to be my guy. Okay, Houston sucks. Houston is absolutely trash. So absolutely no way I'm putting in Watson, even though I think he's a good quarterback. Clyde Edwards-Helaire or James Robinson. I'm going Clyde Edwards-Helaire. My problem with James Robinson, they're playing against the Pittsburgh defense, and I'm not very confident with the Jacksonville Jaguars playing against that defense right now, especially when they're going off. I don't even know are they going with Minshew this time, or are they going with the other guy?
It doesn't matter.
It's essentially a crapshoot with this Jaguars quarterback system, and so and there's not a whole lot to really be thankful for in this organization. So I'm cautious with James Robinson, especially going against the Pittsburgh Steelers defense is looking to go 10-0, and then Claypool, Ridley. I'm putting in Claypool in the wide receiver 2 spot, but with Ridley, I am putting him in the flex spot.
Okay. All right. Jelani, you want to add anything onto that?
Real quick, Rodgers, James Robinson, and then I would probably flex Clyde Edwards-Helaire like you was talking about, and then I'm leaning more towards Ridley because New Orleans is going to be so focused on Julio, which everyone is always is,
Yeah.
and it's just Matt Ryan this year. I mean, he started it last year, but Matt Ryan this year, it's just like, okay, fine. It's equivalent to when it was Roddy White and Julio. Julio first came in, everybody was targeting, Roddy to slow him down. Matt Ryan said, okay, I'll just throw it to Julio. And I think it's just transitioned over. Now that he got that other person, he just like, yeah, go ahead, clear it out, Julio, and let Calvin run right underneath and come out, and all that stuff. So I'll go with Ridley at the wide receiver spot.
Okay. All right. Shout out to Ray Gamer. He's on YouTube. He has a question. Thank you for coming through. New listener. Also, Alpy, make sure you subscribe and click that bell. But thank you for coming through. Pick 2, he says. DJ Chark versus the Steelers. Tyler Boyd versus Washington. Amari Cooper versus the Vikings. Travis Fulgham or Myers versus Texans. This is in a standard league. I'll kick this one off first. Tyler Boyd, yes, that's an absolute yes. The other one, man, to me this is a little bit of a tough one. Anybody on the Cowboys is not going to be the same. So no, not Amari Cooper. Travis Fulgham, I'm actually going to say no as well, just because Alshon Jeffrey's back, Goddard, and whoever else they can throw to. I don't know. Fulgham didn't have. I think he had maybe 8 or 7 points or something last week. In kind of a standard league. So I would actually go. I would go Myers and Tyler Boyd on this one. I think Jacoby Myers is going to be one of Cam's favorite targets. From here on out. Who wants to jump in first? Raise your hand. All right, Jordan.
All right, so a resounding hell no for Amari Cooper. I'm going to go with I'm going to go with Tyler Boyd versus Washington because I really love Joe Burrow. Like I have been a big fan of Joe Burrow so far. The fact that he's actually done something with the Cincinnati Bengals team is an outright miracle, to be quite honest with you. And Washington, Washington is not a great football team whatsoever. So put Tyler Boyd in there. I think you're going to do absolutely fine with him. DJ Chark, I'm very worried because of Jaguars' quarterback situation, so no on him, which leaves Travis Fulgham which leaves Myers. Just based off of how I expect one of these games to go, I am actually going to go on a limb here and put Travis Fulgham in the game because while we think the Browns might win this game, they will probably disappoint us in the end and actually blow this game tremendously. And the Philadelphia Eagles really need this game in order to stay alive in this horrible, god-awful NFC East division. So I'm going to go Fulgham, and I'm going to go Tyler Boyd.
Okay. Real quick, Fulgham had 1.3 points last week. This is in Yahoo against the New York Giants. This week, it is a similar Cleveland's supposed to be a better defense. Now, the thing, though, about that is Myles Garrett is not playing. Myles Garrett has COVID. So that could possibly go in a positive way in that situation. All right, who wants to go next?
I'll go ahead.
Sure.
I really like Tyler Boyd, man. I really like Cincinnati. The blessing in disguise with AJ Green getting hurt is realizing how good Tyler Boyd really is, right?
Yes.
60 receptions, 625 yards. Last week he only had 4 receptions, 33 yards, and a loss. So because they lost last week and because he had a real quiet game last week, I think a part of the game plan during the week is getting Tyler Boyd involved. So I'm definitely going to start him. And I have to agree with BS3 again. Myers, Cam Newton, that's his obvious favorite target. That is the Steve Smith of the New England Patriots in Myers. And I think he's going to be an effective fantasy player for the rest of the season as long as Cam Newton is healthy. So those are definitely my 2 options as well, Tyler Boyd and Myers.
Okay. All right, Chris?
I mean, yeah, I'm with you on Boyd. I like Myers. I try to get him. Apparently there's a gold rush on him. But with Garrett being out, I really think that's going to help Wentz. And if you give Wentz time, I hate to say this because I hate the Eagles, but I think he'll find his targets, even though Jeffrey's back, but he's just coming back. I don't really trust a receiver to get out there and, throw up 25 points on his first game.
Yeah.
So I would take Fulgham.
Okay. And Alshon burned me last week. I started him in DraftKings. Why did I do that? I don't know. I mean, he's an Eagle, and I decided to go that route, and it horribly failed me.
That's Cowboys luck.
He had zero receptions, 0 points, and that's the reason why I'm not playing DraftKings this week. Jelani.
I'm a little torn. I'm gonna stay away from Chark because they're playing, Pittsburgh. I'm left to either Boyd, Fulgham, or Myers because I want to play. I got Amari Cooper. I gotta play him in my league, so I'm gonna play him. But Fulgham is just like it's not even Fulgham. It's really Wentz. It's when you least expect him to do something, then he shows up. And then when he gets a matchup and you're like, oh, he's going to torch them, then he doesn't. So I'm going like, we're not expecting anything out of him. So I'm going to go with Fulgham and Boyd. Boyd scares me just a little bit because T. Higgins is there. But definitely, Boyd showed last year and this year, that AJ Green, we'd like to have him, but we don't need him like you would have needed AJ Green in the past. So I'll go with Boyd and Fulgham.
And just to add on to that, T. Higgins and Boyd have both been putting up big numbers. So if both of them are gonna get the numbers. So it doesn't even, I don't know if that part even matters, if you do one or the other. But and then the other part is, AJ Green, like Keem said, is AJ Green is just as a non-factor now. He should have gotten traded. I don't even understand why he's still on the team because he's like the third option now, and that's horrible. But it's kind of how things evolve. He doesn't have the quarterback that I think was most used to him, which was obviously Andy Dalton. Before that, it was, I don't know if he was there with Carson Palmer, but he's now taking the back seat. So we'll see what happens with him going forward.
Yeah. Last thing I'll say is Fulgham, they're going up against the 21st defense. So it's not the worst defense, but it's at least below the average.
It's up there.
And that's without Myles Garrett.
Right.
True.
Shout out to Diego Rodriguez. Thank you for coming through, man. He does great
What's up,
shows.
Diego?
He does. He's a DJ, so he does a lot of music shows on Spreaker.com. So make sure to check him out. Ray Gamer, thank you for subscribing and liking. I appreciate that, sir. All right, we got another Blue Crew. Blue Crew is a frequent viewer and / listener, so he came through tonight. Thank you for that. He says 0.5 PPR starting Thielen or T. Higgins at wide receiver, Kamara or Zeke. Kamara, I'm gonna go ahead and say it right now. It's a resounding Kamara. Claypool at the flex, sitting Godwin, Cup, and McKissick. This is a good question here.
So
what was the first one? It was I know Kamara and Zeke, but it was another one I missed before Claypool.
Thielen or T. Higgins at wide receiver.
Gotcha.
So I'll kick this one off first. I think I like T. Higgins, man. I do. So I'm gonna go that route. I do like Thielen, and I know Thielen is obviously Cousins' favorite target, and they're playing Dallas, but I'm still gonna go with T. Higgins. Kamara, that's a no-brainer there. Claypool at the flex, sitting Godwin, Cup, and McKissick. I think when it comes to Godwin is becoming in that situation where it's a crowded wide receiving core. You have Evans. You have AB, which AB is getting a lot of looks. You also have Gronk there. You also have the backup tight end that was getting catches in Cameron Brate. So I think Godwin is going to be kind of the odd man out. I think Cup is the number one guy there with the Rams. So I don't know. You may want to possibly, look at putting Cup in there, and then McKissick. I would definitely say sit McKissick. All right. So who's up first?
So
Jordan?
I'm going to go ahead and so I did say Tyler Boyd against the Washington football team. And my rule is I don't like to put two wide receivers from the same team in my league. So that means I'm going to go with Thielen. Now, that's not a bad matchup whatsoever, in my opinion, because as Ben so eloquently pointed out, they're playing against the Dallas Cowboys. And Thielen should be able to feast on this defense with him being the number one wide receiver. Kamara, that's a no-brainer. Unfortunately, with Zeke, it's like the musical chairs with the Dallas quarterback situation right now. So definitely sitting Zeke out for this one. And when I look Claypool, Godwin, Kupp, or McKissick, I'm going to need to put Claypool in there. I like Claypool in there. I said that before. Love him. And that's going to be my roster choices right there.
Okay. All right. Hey, Rich?
I'm not a fan of Adam Thielen. I'm not a fan of Adam Thielen. I know they played Dallas Cowboys this week, so automatically you're like, okay, Dallas Cowboys they're not a good football team. Adam Thielen may be a good matchup, but I'm looking at it as the Dallas Cowboys are not a good football team. It may not be a need to throw the ball as much once we get ahead, So I'm not sure. I could be wrong, but I'm not sure how much Adam Thielen is going to be involved in that particular game. And then they got a guy named Justin Jefferson, which I think Kirk Cousins is his favorite target. So Adam Thielen is definitely going to be interesting there. Claypool at flex. I love Chase Claypool and sitting Godwin, Kupp, and McKissick. It's iffy. It's iffy. I may for this particular matchup. As much as I like Claypool, Cooper Kupp is the number one guy over there with the Rams, and I believe that he would be the best matchup in this particular week, this Sunday, as opposed to Claypool. So that's why I feel about the situation there.
Okay.
Can I go? Can I go to Akeem for the? Can I retort Akeem for just a moment?
Yeah.
I get liking Cooper Kupp. My problem is it's a Monday night game. They're going to at Tampa, and I really don't trust the Rams against that defense in particular. So that's why I myself am going to sit out Kupp in this one.
Nice. Okay.
All right, Jelani.
I go with Thielen a little, but I am a little scared. Just what Akeem said with Justin Jefferson, because this could be, the matchup where Justin Jefferson goes off. But also Dalvin Cook, could be running the ball as well, so it may take away snaps. But I take a chance with Thielen. Yeah, Kamara, like you just said, and I'm going to be the odd guy, and I'll go with Chris Godwin. And here's why. They're playing against the Ravens, and Chris Godwin plays the slot. And the one thing that he doesn't at least have to worry about, he does have to worry about Antonio Brown. And, Brady's spreading the ball around. But Jalen Ramsey is on the other side. And he's looking for Mike Evans.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to be locked up, on Mike Evans. Now, of course, that leaves why am I forgetting his name? I want to say Josh Johnson, but I might be wrong. I think he plays safety, but I just think that leaves a little bit of a void, for Chris Godwin, because he won't ever have to see Jalen Ramsey. So I'll take a chance on Godwin, and Antonio Brown has been, getting some extra snaps or extra, attention than him. But in this matchup, I just got a feeling I would go with Chris Godwin.
All right, and just to add on to what you were saying, Adam Humphries is out. So when you talk about his slot, you talk about the slot guy like Edelman, like Wes Welker, and those type of guys. Adam Humphries is out, so that could give some more looks to Godwin. So, you got some good points there. All right, Chris, you got anything to shake us up on these?
I like Thielen, but everyone said it. between Cook, and I really think Jefferson's coming up as being that guy. You know, he's that more of that deep threat, and that's really what Dallas can't handle. I've seen it way too many times this year already. Kamara's Kamara. You can't. I don't care. I'd cut off my pinky toe to get him back. Zeke, honestly, I think this might be one of those games where he's like, I'm done with this. You know, it's my turn. But it's hit or miss. You never know with now with him without Dak.
Right.
I think last week he did really good with Garrett in there. I was really hoping they would keep starting him because I thought the offense played a lot better, and it helped him a lot more. I still like Claypool, but, you know, like they're saying with Godwin, it's going to be his time eventually, and this might be that week where he gets off again.
Right.
I would probably just make that, you know, I'd take that chance and I would do it.
Okay. All right. Ray Gamer is back. He said the rest of my lineup is Patrick Mahomes versus the Raiders. That's excellent. Derrick Henry versus the Ravens. That's also excellent. James Conner versus Jaguars. Eric Ebron versus the Jaguars. I put Kalen Ballage at flex versus the Jets. Will Lutz in Miami defense versus the Jets. You're looking good. The one thing I will say, and this is just me personally, I hate starting two players from the same team because it seems to always backfire them, and I try to stay away from that. Eric Ebron to me is the biggest X factor and question mark on the planet. The dude could have 5 catches and a touchdown one week, have 0 catches the next week. That Eric Ebron makes me nervous because I've tried it and it didn't work out. So that I just know that from my personal experience. But Chris, I'll go to you first. Anything you want to say? Anything you want to add or on this lineup?
Yeah, we got the same quarterback going. You know, one of my first 2 picks, I took Mahomes. Tight end for me is always iffy. If I can get 3 points from my tight end, I'm happy. There's really only those 2 to 3 elite tight ends that can, you know, you're guaranteed that 8 to 12 points a game. So after that, it's like, give me 3, cool, I'm great. Anyone playing the Jets, I'm starting their defense.
Oh yeah, facts.
One of those things. Kicker, I'm kind of the same way as tight end. You know, you look to see who's playing, who hasn't really been scoring a lot of touchdowns, will get those dead drives, and I go with them. So I rotate my kickers in and out. Just it's a kicker, you know.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jordan.
So I do want to clarify, the Miami Dolphins are playing the Denver Broncos this week, not the Jets. So Kalen Ballage, I'm not – again, Denver's defense is reeling, so I can't fault you for starting him. And then the Miami defense against our Broncos offense, we are also reeling in that department too. So I really don't blame you for that. I'm gonna have faith that say we will win against Miami, but it's difficult to have faith in that sense right now.
True. Jelani, you look like you're thinking.
No, everyone's pretty much covered. You know what I was thinking. The Jets, yeah, they are 29th in passing. So Justin Herbert is probably gonna, you know, pick a guy and let it fly, you know, for them. But I agree with what everybody's saying.
But yeah, basically, if you have any starters playing against the Jets, then you absolutely need to start them. They're an absolutely terrible team.
Horrible.
And the tight end position group as far as fantasy football is so horrid. It's so while I'm playing this season, I'm already thinking about next season, and if should I draft a tight end within my first 2 rounds, because I know if I don't get Kelsey, if I don't get Mark Andrews, it's a significant drop in the tight end realm, and I'm not a fan of Eric Ebron at all. I'm not a fan. He's too hit or miss. The Pittsburgh Steelers have a bunch of weapons. I personally think he's a fantastic player, but as far as fantasy and in this situation, I don't like the matchup. But again, the tight end position is so horrible as far as fantasies. That may be the best option for a lot of people to go to.
Yeah, and you're right. If it's not Kittle or Kelsey or Mark Andrews, and Mark Andrews is even hit or miss. So really, it's Kittle and Kelsey, and now Kelsey's out or Kittle's out. So now all you have is Kelsey. So it's like if you're playing DraftKings, that's like one of the worst positions to be in. Now you do have Darren Waller. I'll give you that, but Darren Waller's up and down. So it's one of those.
He hasn't been the same since that Monday night game when he got all them targets and looks. He hasn't had the same production since. So true.
And Ray Gamer says, "Oops, I'm in Denver." Yeah, it's all right. The Denver guy. We got a Denver guy on here, so he's definitely gonna correct that for you. As far as fandom, we got 2 Cowboys fans, a Detroit Lions fan, a Buffalo fan, and a Denver fan. So the best team out of all of them is the Buffalo Bills. So congratulations to your team this week.
Good job, Akeem.
Well, right now, I've been through a lot with my team.
You have.
You deserve this.
I'm not even. I'm humbled.
You guys deserve this, man. You guys deserve a Super Bowl just because of those times that you went to the Super Bowl and you were that close and you didn't win it, and you were there multiple times. Like, that's heartbreak. That's like your heart being ripped out and stomped on.
It is, and I'm showing my age a little bit, but I was witnessing all of them Super Bowl losses, so it hurt me to a T. So when we lost last week, I didn't feel as much pain because I'm kind of used to the pain from recent memory. So, but I'm glad we're doing well this far.
I will say this, Akeem. I'll trade off 4 Super Bowl losses for an 0-16 season.
Listen. I feel everybody's pain here. I have been fortunate enough to be alive when the Broncos have won, those 3 Super Bowls, the 2 back in the 90s, the one that we had about 5 years ago. I mean, listen, I remember, or I should say, the last time the Dallas Cowboys won a Super Bowl, my mom was 7 months pregnant with me, so it's been a while. And then my guy Jelani, again, my heart goes out to you. The Detroit needs to pick it up, and Akeem, I listen. All Buffalo Bills fans deserve a special place in heaven for having to go to 4 straight Super Bowls and losing them. So my heart goes out to everybody on this panel.
Yeah, definitely. Ray Gamer says he's a Steelers fan. That's great, man. I mean, you guys are in the mix every single week. And if one more person says something disrespectful about my man Mike Tomlin, you deserve to slap yourself. You need to look in the mirror and slap yourself, because this guy, not only, I'm gonna brag on him for a minute. Not only is they're always in the mix, but they've had 14 straight winning seasons. What other coaches has had that?
Ben, can I chime in?
Yeah.
I just, on my show 2 weeks ago, I have this thing for the guys that don't know. At the end of the show, I do the Big Loser Award. And I gave out the Big Loser Award to Steeler fans who criticized Mike Tomlin. This guy has never had a losing season since he's been the coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. The worst he's ever went is 8-8. He has a 65% winning percentage. And for people to say, oh, he won, with other people and all that stuff, it's just like you just said. Every year they're relevant. And the job that they did last year, not having Ben Roethlisberger, James Conner being hurt, Antonio Brown in a different, location, Juju, we're finding out about Juju, that maybe he's not that number one that everyone thought he was. And the quarterback play, and you still went 8-8, that deserves a lot of credit. So when Steeler fans be complaining, I'm like you deserve the back of the hand or the 5 fingers to the face or something like that, because there are a lot of other teams, franchises that would love to take 8-8 or more every year.
And not to disrespect my guy Bill Cowher, but Bill Cowher only won 1 Super Bowl with the Steelers. Mike Tomlin gave you Super Bowl 2, and the job that he has done for the Steelers franchise, a consistent AFC contender, where a lot of people on this panel can't even say that about their team, including me. I mean, he's an incredible coach. You know, whenever he decides to retire, he's going to get the gold jacket, first ballot Hall of Famer coach. He's just an excellent coach. And you know what? I will say this. He's one of the more excellent minority coaches. You know, when have we been able to give an opportunity to give that platform to someone like him?
True. Yeah, I mean you're right. You definitely correct about that. So everybody that's tuning in, drop what team you're on, so we can shout you out about that. All right, we got Varun. I'm not gonna try to say the last name because I'm probably gonna butcher it, so I'm gonna leave that alone. But Alex Smith or Tom Brady super flex. I like the super flex league because to be able to start a quarterback in your flex is like one of the greatest things in the world because you know they're gonna probably get points. So I'll kick it off first. In this situation, I'm gonna go with Tom Brady. Definitely gonna go with Tom Brady just because I can't trust Alex Smith. I will not trust him. I think it's a great comeback story, but I cannot trust him the remainder of his NFL career. So I'm going with Tom Brady.
Alex Smith is playing on, and I don't say this slightly because his comeback story is absolutely fantastic, and we could talk about all that, but I'll take an hour for me to do so. But the thing is, he's playing on one and a half legs, so I'm going to go Tom Brady in this scenario too.
Okay, all right. Anybody disagree?
Who does Tom Brady have this week? Who do they play again this week? Tampa Bay?
The Los Angeles Rams, yeah.
I think it's on Sunday night too, if I'm not mistaken.
No, they Monday night.
Monday night? Oh, okay.
Yeah, they Monday night.
It's Kansas City and Raiders Sunday night.
Okay.
Yeah.
That'd be a fun game.
Yeah, that definitely will be. You see how the last one went, so that definitely should be a good one. All right, so we got no disagreements there. All right,
I disagree.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Okay. Come to the front of the class.
I would go Alex Smith. Yes, you know, he played against the Detroit Lions and he torched them. But here's my thing. Dwayne Haskins and who else? Kyle Allen. Out of those three quarterbacks, Alex Smith was always the best quarterback out of those three. It was just he had a horrific injury that he was coming back from. If he was healthy and 100% and ready to go, he would have been a starting quarterback for Washington, not Dwayne Haskins, not Kyle Allen. He's shown that in Kansas City with Andy Reid, he put up points. But hey, Pat Mahomes, as we see, you know, is that's a whole different story. Terry McLaurin, he makes him even more deadly. Terry McLaurin was deadly with Dwayne Haskins. Now he has a quarterback. To me, that makes him even more dangerous. That makes the offense a little bit more dangerous for the running game. And for the Cincinnati Bengals, if I remember correctly, I can pull it up real quick. I think they're 26. Yeah, they're 26 against the pass. You know, so I would go especially in the flex spot. I would take a chance on Alex Smith in this game because I think they'll put up numbers with him.
Okay. All right. I mean, you made some great points there. I don't agree with you, but I think you made some great points there.
hey, that's why they play the game. We'll find out. That's the best part.
Jelani, I love the analysis, but I got to keep it 100. I think you're wrong.
Okay.
All right. We got another juicy one right here from Varun. Pick 4 PPR. Man, Burkhead or Duke? John, Rojo, Myers, Michael Thomas, Godwin, Claypool. Man, you got a.
Oh my Lord!
You're giving us a nice one right here. You're giving us a nice softball. I like this. I like this right here. I like this question. All right.
You said Burkhead.
Duke Johnson.
Oh, Duke. Okay. Duke.
Rojo. Ronald Jones. Myers.
And Claypool.
Michael Thomas. Godwin and Claypool. Man, you got to.
Wow. And we got to pick 4?
4.
Okay. All right. I think I got it.
Go ahead, Jordan.
Sometimes the one with the first answer is not always right, but go ahead.
Yeah,
But anyway,
with that being said, I'm gonna go Claypool. I'm gonna go Thomas. I'm gonna go Myers. I'm gonna go Ronald Jones II.
Okay. All right. I'll hit this one. I'm gonna go Ronald Jones. He is like, for a guy, just a little bit of background on this guy. For a guy that was still starting when Fournette came in, they said when Fournette came in, immediately Bruce Arians said Ronald Jones is still our running back. And I was like, really? Like, you're not going to start Fournette over him? He said, no, Ronald Jones is the guy. And clearly we know why Ronald Jones is the guy. So Ronald Jones, yes. Jacoby Myers, yes. I'm a little nervous on Michael Thomas, but I'm going to go, oh, golly. I'm still going to go Michael Thomas because he's still the guy there. And then I'll go Claypool. I do not trust Rex Burkhead. I don't trust any Patriots running back because you got Burkhead and you got the other cat there.
James White?
James White, but then there's another guy that's been playing well too. I think it's Damian Harris. So
Sony Michel is supposed to be back this week too.
Oh my God!
Talk about a carousel.
It's even more crowded. All right, next. Hey,
I'll take it.
Okay,
I'll take it. Pick 4. I'm definitely gonna go Ronald Jones and Myers. Those are the first two that come to my mind. I've been rolling with Claypool the whole show, so I'm not gonna refuse him now. So I got Ronald Jones, Myers, Claypool, and I'm gonna go ahead and take a chance on Duke Johnson here. I think that he is the guy. He's the starter. It's not in question no more. He has a week as the number one guy and to get a game plan involved. And I don't think the Patriots is a great team anymore. And I think they will be in the game enough where he can be productive. So I go with Duke Johnson there.
Okay. All right, Chris.
I mean, I'd go Ronald Jones, Myers, Claypool. Any other time, I'd go with Thomas. But yeah, Hill's been there. He hasn't really, that I know of, could throw a lot to him, with first team. So honestly, I just stick with Godwin.
Okay.
I can't really trust the receiver with a backup.
That's true.
Oh,
good point. Jelani's coming to you, fastball.
Chris, that was a good point because I was leaning towards Michael Thomas, and then as you started talking, I was like, he's absolutely right. I have no idea if Taysom Hill can feed Michael Thomas the volume that he needs to make him relevant, because I was leaning on, he had this was going to be he played against Mike Evans, but with Julio and Ridley in the building, he'll be extra motivated, to show out. But at the last minute, I'm going away from him. So I'll go with Godwin. I'll go with Claypool. I'll go with Rojo. And here's why I'll go with Burkhead. Although seems like they're pulling running backs just off the street to play for the Patriots. I'll go with Burkhead because Houston run game is so horrible that everybody may get a piece in this game. So Burkhead, Rojo, Claypool, and Godwin.
Okay.
Now, people that would want to start Michael Thomas, it all depends on how you view him, right? DeAndre Hopkins didn't have a quarterback for years, and he was still able to be a productive wide receiver. When Drew Brees got hurt last year, it didn't really affect Michael Thomas's production. He was still able to have 149 receptions with Teddy Bridgewater starting multiple games. So if you feel that it doesn't matter who the quarterback is and he has that DeAndre Hopkins kind of thing going with him, then you go ahead and start Michael Thomas. What you have to lose?
Here's my rebuttal about that, though, Akeem, is that all those quarterbacks that you just mentioned, they got more than 10 passes in their sleep. I haven't seen anything from Taysom. So I mean that just scares me. And here's the thing. What if Mike isn't his guy? What if it's Emmanuel Sanders or Jared Cook? What if he's like, I fall in love with tight end. I love tight end. And he falls in love with another guy. Mike goes off, the rail or whatever because he's not getting the ball. I just don't know, because there's nothing there to get, go off of. And I say all that, and then Michael Thomas has 200 yards. And I look like a fool.
And a little bit of breaking news about an hour ago. Drew Brees, it says additional scans revealed 11 total rib fractures.
Oh, my Lord have mercy.
11. So this is going to be a conversation for a minute. Who is it going to be, Taysom Hill or Jameis? Because I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Does he come back for the playoffs? I don't know what. You got 11 ribs. Like, when do you come back?
Here's another conversation. Does Drew Brees come back? Because 11 rib injuries, career-wise, I might be thinking about a retirement conversation. I know that might be blasphemous to some people, but let's face facts. Rib injuries for a quarterback are absolutely maybe not as devastating as like a leg or an arm injury, but rib injuries are a very significant injury in my opinion.
Yeah, it's important for a lot of reasons. Shout out to Aiden Barrett. Also, we got Kaiser on Twitch with a question. He's jumping in on YouTube. He says, "Hey, I'm back for the fantasy advice. Thank you for coming back. I got a good one. Wide receiver starter. Who should I start? Juju, Thielen, or Michael Thomas? I got Tay Adams at wide receiver 1. Need a wide receiver 2. Ooh, I like this. I like this question here.
I'm going to go with Thielen.
I agree. Juju, again, we talk about the Steelers. It's a crowded wide receiving core. Juju could be the guy. He could not be. But Thielen, I think Thielen and Jefferson are probably going to go off. But Thielen is consistently one of Cousins' favorite guys. And then we talked about Michael Thomas. Like, so to me, Juju and Michael Thomas, I think, are better than Thielen. But I think in this particular question, I would go with Thielen. So I agree with you, Jordan.
You know what? I may go Michael Thomas here, man. See, the more I think about it, is the more I'm starting to go Michael Thomas. Let me tell you why. I am confident in Sean Payton's ability as an offensive play caller. And now he has time throughout the week to get involved and implement a scheme with his new quarterback. And I believe he understands exactly who his best players are. And because of that, because of Sean Payton, he would be the sole reason why I would start Michael Thomas, because I think he's a damn near genius offensive mind. And I think he's going to find a way to get his best players the ball.
That's a great point. He's dropping nuggets tonight. All right, Chris.
I mean, I'm going to have to stick with Thielen again, playing Dallas. I mean, I could score 28 points on Dallas. Hell.
We all would be putting it up, even with Ben DiNucci, the Mafia kid in there.
But Thielen, he's too consistent. He's getting his catches. He's getting his yards. You know what you're going to get from him.
Regardless.
So you got to stick with what you know.
Okay.
Good point. All right, Jelani.
Thielen.
Okay.
Yeah, everybody made good points. But yeah, Thielen.
Okay. All right. Ray Gamer, Mike Tomlin has been my favorite coach for all time, and I think he was the Steelers fan. You're definitely right. All right, Aiden, here we go with another Taysom Hill question. He says, let me go back to it. Okay. So I got Taysom Hill at my normal flex this week because of ESPN leagues. So I guess ... I mean, I don't know. Who else do you have? Put that in.
Yeah.
I would love to know who else you have. I don't know if we got a follow-up question there. But I think when it comes to Taysom, it's definitely going to be hit or miss. I mean, I don't know if any of us can give you a solid answer. And they're playing Atlanta, so could go great. What if Taysom Hill as a starting quarterback is not good and he ends up getting benched for Jameis? There is a strong possibility that could happen. So do it at your own risk. That's what I would say. Anybody want to add on to that?
It's risk reward. I have him in it right now. Just it's for first place, and I'm just like, I want to try something out the blue. So if you're comfortable doing it, just do it. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? You maybe get 7. That's usually what you might get from your tight end in general.
True.
My thing is, I get it. Atlanta is playing really well, especially with Raheem Morris being the coach there. But their defense, I have a few question marks on. So it's not what's the word I'm looking for? An out of left field decision to start Taysom Hill, but I would like to see if you have any other options you're considering too.
Yeah.
I mean, even with me, I got Waller and Andrews right now sitting on my bench because I put him in.
Yeah.
It's just something to try.
Yeah, I mean, he'll probably get more than a tight end. I would definitely say that. I think he'll get more than a traditional tight end. So I'll give you that. All right, let's go to the next one. Ravens or Titans this week? I'm assuming they are playing each other. So I guess you're talking about the game or you're talking about defense. Either way, I gotta go with the Ravens. I think the Ravens. I think they'll win the game, and I think they would be the better defense. I know Derrick Henry, but this is Ryan Tannehill, and I don't know what you guys' thoughts are around Ryan Tannehill, but I don't think I'll ever be at the point where I'm gonna draft him or start him. And the guy that this all depends on is Derrick Henry at the end of the day. Jelani, I'll go to you first.
Ooh. I'm leaning towards the Ravens. I mean, they need this win. I just think because we're already in the second half of the season, and they want to try and get on a run and roll into the playoffs on a good note. Like you just said, Derrick Henry, that is their entire offense. That is, what makes everything run there. Tannehill, Corey Davis, AJ Brown, Jonnu Smith, it all revolves around Derrick Henry. So I think that they are going to make sure Derrick Henry doesn't put 150 yards on them, and they'll take that chance and they'll say, Ryan Tannehill, you got to beat us.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jordan.
I'm going to actually go with the Titans this week.
Okay.
Because even though I don't really trust Ryan Tannehill, I rather am going to rely on the legs of Derrick Henry to run roughshod through this Baltimore Ravens defense. And as we've seen before in big games like this, now Indianapolis, I'll give Lamar Jackson credit for winning that game. But with the Tennessee Titans really needing this game to get themselves in, still in that conversation for the lead in the AFC South, I believe they're gonna play with a bigger edge. Mike Vrabel is gonna get this team ready, and I think Lamar Jackson is gonna have one of those games where he needs to come up big and fall short.
All right,
I like it.
All right. All right, let me give a shout out to Speakeasy Sports.
What up, Speakeasy?
That's my guy, Easy. Make sure to follow and subscribe to his channel, man. He does a great job. MMA guy. So he was watching UFC, was it 255? I know that's normally he would be on, but he's definitely watching that right now. No doubt. All right, let's go to the next one. Also, this is from Kaiser on Twitch. Also, Mark Andrews or Darren Waller, and would you start Elliott over what? Would you
No.
start Elliott over Hines? No, absolutely not.
No.
Absolutely. Zeke is off limits. I'm sorry.
No,
I love him. I'm a Cowboys fan, but Zeke is off limits. His head is not there. It's not there. It's not there, period. So I guess we're all in agreement with that one. Now let's go to the other side. Mark Andrews or Darren Waller?
I'm going to go with Darren Waller because I get it. The Chiefs have maybe a betterish defense than they had in years past, but you could still score a lot of points, as the Raiders just did when they went to Arrowhead to play the Kansas City Chiefs. So I would potentially see Waller getting some targets in this one. Now, Mark Andrews, I can also kind of see too, because the Titans don't have the greatest defense in the world, but it's also that question mark I have for Lamar Jackson as a passer right now. Whereas those questions I have for Derek Carr, I definitely do not have questions about Derek Carr as a quarterback passer.
Yeah. I would go Andrews. I think A. Rich said it earlier. Waller has not been the same since that game. He had all of those passes and receptions, and I think Mark Andrews is the end zone target. Now I know, like Jelani said, Mark Ingram is coming back, but still. If I had to pick between one of the two, I would go with Mark Andrews. Hey, Rich, what do you say?
It's tough, This one is tough. Darren Waller, the Raiders, they play the Kansas City Chiefs. I would first instinct, I'm like, yeah, Darren Waller may be the guy. But when I think again, it's like, okay, the Kansas City Chiefs. The last time Darren Waller had a productive game was that game against the Chiefs. So I would think the defensive staff of Kansas City would say, this man cannot beat us this week. We cannot let this man beat us. He killed us the first time they played us. We have to do a better job covering him. And because of that, I'm going to go with Mark Andrews.
Okay. Okay. Look, real quick, let me add this. Waller had 5.2 points last week, 10.7 against the Chargers, 5.2 against Cleveland. He had 14 against Tampa Bay. So it's kind of an up and down situation. But I would go Mark Andrews. Jelani, I don't know if you went already.
I'm gonna go with Darren Waller.
Okay.
And part of this, like Akeem was saying, he had a good game. He got in the end zone, and the Raiders had a good game against Kansas City. But I think it's more Darren Waller, not because of Derek Carr, but because of another quarterback, and that's Pat Mahomes. I think Pat Mahomes, this is a rival game. They don't like losing. He already said he doesn't like losing twice to a team. So I think he's going to make a statement game, and they're going to get up so early, so quick, that the Raiders ain't going to have no choice but to throw the ball. And then they're going to end up just playing, safe ball, keep everything in front of us. And I think, Darren Waller would get peppered, with balls throughout the game. So I just think it's more of some get back from the Chiefs of why Darren Waller will have, better numbers than Mark Andrews.
Good point. All right, Chris.
Oh, no, I completely agree. My biggest thing with tight end, I look at the way the quarterback's playing. I'll trust going to my tight end more right now with Carr than I will with Jackson, because it seems like he gets too amped up at times when he needs to make a play. And he does like what Murray does. He throws too hard. He throws too high. He's not accurate when he needs to be. So in that case, yeah, I'm sticking with Waller.
Okay. All right. Ray Gamer says never sit Henry. Facts. There's only two guys, well, I would say three this year. Derrick Henry, Dalvin Cook, and Alvin Kamara. Everybody else, I think, is up for grabs. I don't know if you guys want to add anybody else onto that list.
I probably would add Aaron Jones. He was just injured.
I got to give you that.
Hey, I'm telling you what, though, and I hate talking about the Raiders. I hate praising them just as much as any Broncos fan out there. But that Jacobs kid, he's really good.
Yes.
Josh Jacobs. Yep.
I agree. Shout out to Courtney Harden. He's a part of BS3 Radio. Had a great show earlier today. And like Ray Gamer said, and don't ever sit Dalvin Cook. Facts. We just mentioned that. Unless you're talking about tight ends, Cook and Henry, laugh out loud. That in response to Kaiser. Waller over Andrews, says Ray Gamer. Nah, running backs, but thanks for the feedback. I think that was added to another question. Waller over, getting a lot of Wallers over Andrews here. All I can say is don't trust Taysom Hill. All right, let's see. Bryant Wright. Great name. Ahmed or AJ Brown, non-PPR. Is he talking about
Miami
Savon?
Dolphins running back? Is there Miami Dolphins running back, Ahmed?
I think so. Savon, I think it's Savon Ahmed, I believe.
Savon Ahmed?
Let's see. I think that's the only.
He undrafted running back, Miami Dolphins.
Yeah.
That's the only guy I can think of. I would go AJ Brown though. Just
I'm going AJ Brown too.
You know, off the cuff here. AJ Brown is one of the. Now hold on. Are you talking about AJ Green? Who's AJ Brown? Is there AJ Brown?
AJ Brown is the wide receiver of Tennessee Titans.
Oh, okay. Yes, I would go with him. I would go with AJ Brown.
There might be a slight Denver bias against him, Ed. Just saying.
All right. Anyone want to add on or change that?
AJ Brown is the name that we know. But Ahmed, when you look how Miami Dolphins used him, he had 21 carries, 85 yards, and a touchdown. So, his usage might be warranted into this question. So it's very interesting. I would go AJ Brown as well, but I think this is a better question than we thought it was when we initially read it.
Right, you're right. And then Bailage. Oh no, Bailage is with the Chargers. Never mind. Okay, so yeah, he may be the starter. So I mean, I don't know. For me, I shy away from the guy that maybe could do something. Because what if last week was a flash in the pan and this week it doesn't turn out that way? Like that, there's always situations like that. And they play Denver. So I don't know. We'll see. Ray Gamer says Brown. Kamara will be heavily involved. Yes, he will be.
Absolutely.
Shout out to my man Al High.
What's going on, Al?
He's part of BS3 Radio as well. The Casual Highlight. Check out his show, bs3radio.com. Drew Brees will be out a while. Yeah, and a while maybe for the rest of the year. We may not see Drew Brees again until he's commentating a game for whatever network he's going to be on for.
Yeah.
I'm playing against Kamara, says Ray Gamer. Yeah, that's going to be a tough one for you. Sorry. If you have 11 rib fractures at about 4 years old, just take the first ballot Hall of Fame votes and go home.
Facts, Aiden. Facts.
Good point. We have a lot of people tonight. Yes, and that's what we like. That's what I like. That's what we all like, I'm sure.
Hey, it gives me something to do tonight. So.
We got a nice one here. Adams and Thielen. Okay, I thought that was a question.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Let's go. So Aiden Bryant, earlier he had a question. Let me go back to his question. He said, I have Taysom Hill at the flex. So now the follow-up is either Taysom or Ronald Jones, which that takes it up a notch.
So how much Jameis Winston snaps are we going to see? Because we seen Taysom Hill get snaps and take away snaps from Drew Brees, a Hall of Fame first ballot guy. Is Jameis Winston going to take any snaps at all from Taysom Hill?
I would say yes. I haven't seen Taysom Hill in the game for longer than a handful of plays.
Right.
So to go from a handful of plays to getting every single snap, I'm doubtful. I'm doubtful. And Ronald Jones is eating, man. Ronald Jones is eating pretty much every single game. Now, not every game, but he's been eating.
But my
question
question is, what about this Rams defense? Because here's the thing. When I look at Atlanta's defense and the Rams defense, yes, Atlanta has been winning as of late, but they still have a relatively weak defense in the NFL right now. And I already know what I expect from at least the defensive standpoint for the Rams. Offensive standpoint, not really that good. But the defensive standpoint, they have been able to hold teams to, even high-scoring teams like Seattle, mind you, to 16 points. So if they could do that to Seattle, I mean, what stops them from holding Tampa Bay to like 10 or 16 and Rojo not having a good day? At least with Taysom, it's interesting in that scenario where he could have a big game because, Atlanta's defense is used to giving up a lot of points.
And giving up leads.
But I will say this. The whole giving up leads joke, that was really Dan Quinn's take, and this isn't Dan Quinn's team anymore. So I will give the Atlanta Falcons a little bit more credit in that respect.
Good point.
Oh, man.
I would still go Ronald Jones regardless, but go ahead, Jelani.
I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I probably would lean towards Taysom Hill. And as far as like between him and Rojo, the Rams are fifth against the defense, fifth against the run, I should say, on defense. They're not allowing over 100 yards, actually 96 yards a game. And I would give, like I talked about Sean Payton, as far as like, having that secret and everything. And as I thought, as we're going through this, is that kind of similar. We had that situation with Lamar when he stepped in for Joe Flacco, and he really didn't throw the ball, but Harbaugh and them were able, who was that? Greg Roman was, I think, the OC. They were able to design an offense that catered to Lamar not having to throw the ball as much, but he ran the ball. So maybe that may be what they'll do. And as far as like rushing, maybe Taysom will get those yards rushing and be a better rusher than Rojo will be. So I'm gonna lean towards Taysom, surprisingly.
Okay. Good points. Chris.
No, I agree completely. Taysom, yeah, you're gonna get those rushing yards if they bring in Winston for like they bring him in when Breeze was playing. He got those passes, he got those rushes like that. So you get that on top of what he'll get passing. Jones, he kind of had an issue fumbling for me, and that kind of hurts it trying to put him in. But if you put in Taysom, wherever you put him in, like me at tight end, if he throws a pick, that really hurts me. So you're kind of it's your pick your poison.
Yeah, and then the most important thing is the Rams have a bad man in Aaron Donald, and all Aaron Donald has to do is stick his arm out, and Ronald Jones is going to fall to the ground. He's going to close on him. So
very much.
Yeah. All right. Aiden says I have Waller at tight end and Taysom at flex. So that's a kind of a follow up to what he said. Easy, who's watching UFC, says Mike Perry just walked to the cage to Britney's Halo.
Yeah,
that's not a good walk-in song at all. Got to start Taysom this week regardless. They should have lost to the Colts, but Phillip Rivers and the Wefts bailed out the Ravens.
Well, that's Phillip Rivers for you.
Yeah, Ray Gamer, I hope Derrick Henry will go off. I'm feeling it, even though it will be tough, but I did hear the Ravens defensive linemen are a little banged up. Yeah, Derrick Henry, pretty much. I haven't seen him have a down. Let me go. I got him in my ESPN league. Let me go. I don't think I've seen him have a down week yet, because he's just bigger and better than anybody else. But let me pull it up exactly so I can not lie. His lowest week was actually against Chicago. He had 6.8 against Chicago, and then against Jacksonville, 8.4. but every other week he's had double digits. So, and I'm expecting him to have double digits this week.
Nice.
Anybody disagree?
Nope.
All right, cool. All right, he did rush for 109 against the Colts. Yes. I'm not starting Elliott over any of those dudes. Yeah, Elliott. Zeke is it's over. This year is over for the Cowboys as a whole. I'm straying away from starting any Cowboys player. It's a wrap.
Mm-hmm.
Mark Andrews is very inconsistent, but arguably has better upside in the red zone targets. I agree. Waller is going to get his targets, so he'll be the safe player. Depends on the rest of the team, though. You're right. Great points, Aiden. And also, Mark Andrews is probably the most talented tight end, but he cannot throw the ball to himself, just like Waller can't throw the ball to himself. So it does depend on what's going on there. If Winston over Hill, I would be all over Michael Thomas. We got some comments on tight ends, which is yes, it's an absolute wasteland. I just have a feeling Sean Payton may be ahead of himself, too smart for his own good. He may be right there. He may really be trying to throw a curveball to catch everybody off guard. All right. Kaiser says, my team is currently starters Wilson, Henry, Cook, Adams, Thielen, Waller, Andrews, Hines, Colts defense, and Jason Sanders, bench, Juju, Michael Thomas, Elliott, Koo, Carson, Beasley. You got a nice squad. Let me know what your record is. Let me know what your record is, Kaiser. All right. Hey guys, we got Roberto Aguirre. Please select 2. Filler, Godwin, Juju, half PPR. Please grade this trade. Sent Thielen, received Miles. Received Miles Sanders. All right.
I like the trade. Maybe I might be a little bit biased because I don't have no running backs in my fantasy. So if I had the opportunity to get a Miles Sanders, I would, especially the way I seen the way Philadelphia used them over this past weekend. They don't seem to have that much weapons, and they seem to be a more explosive offense when he's on the field. So I really like Miles Sanders. And if I had to choose 2 between the receivers, I'm going. I have to go Will Fuller here. I think Will Fuller is, he's one of Deshaun, if not Deshaun Watson's favorite target. And once again, Juju or Godwin. I'm gonna go Godwin.
Okay.
Yeah,
right.
I'm going to go Juju, Godwin too. And I really like this trade, Sanders for Thielen. I'm looking at the Philadelphia Eagles opponents right now, and they're playing the Browns, as we had just talked about. Not the greatest defense, minus Myles Garrett. Then they get Seattle. They don't have a great defense either. They get the Packers next, and we just saw what Dalvin Cook was able to do to Green Bay. And we got the Saints, Cardinals, the Dallas Cowboys, and that Washington football team. For Sanders, you've got a favorable stretch down to the playoff line. So if you want me to put a grade on this, I'm going to give you a B+ on it.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right, Chris.
Oh no, I love the trade. I mean, Sanders, when he plays and he's not hurt, he's great. He's explosive. He'll get you points. Thielen, with any receiver, it's can he catch the ball? Can he get the ball to him? Running back, it's, hey, here you go. The other ones, yeah, Godwin and Juju. They can catch the ball. They're going to hold on to the ball.
Yeah. And my motto on trades when it comes to wide receivers and running backs is running backs going to get more touches, period. And Miles Sanders can catch out of the backfield and run. So to me, you definitely won this trade. I'll give you an A because I think Thielen has Justin Jefferson to compete with. Miles Sanders has Boston Scott, and I think he's Miles Sanders is the guy when he's healthy. The other question, I don't really like Fuller, not because he's a bad wide receiver, but he's the deep guy. But say there's no deep passes for some reason. Say Cooks, maybe I think they got Brandon Cooks. He gets more looks.
Yeah,
so
he does.
I would actually go Godwin and Juju. I know it's a crowded wide receiving core. I've been saying that all night. But out of those, I would have to go Godwin and Juju.
And I think you alluded to this, Ben, but with Bill Belichick's defense, they always are going to take an option out. And I really think Will Fuller is going to be that option that they take out. So Deshaun Watson is going to be forced to select his other options. Just not a good combination for a Fuller productive day.
Mm-hmm. All right, Jelani.
Yeah, Sanders. Yeah, you go running back, on it. Especially later into the season, if you run into a cold weather game, as well, because it is a winter season, so you want to have a running back running instead of depending on a wide receiver. Fuller and Juju. I know I was on the Godwin, train and everything, but for those two, I will go Fuller and Juju.
Okay. All right. Well, Ray Gamer agrees with you. He said Fuller and Juju. Kaiser says I'd keep Thielen personally. That's all good. Kaiser also shout out to Miss Mocha-Bella. We
Mocha-Bella, what's up?
Coming through tonight. She's been playing pretty well in DraftKings, so I gotta give her props, man. She's been beating me, so I gotta give her props. All right, Robert Aguirre. I also have Devontae as other wide receivers, so that's why I did sold Thielen. I was short at running back. Yeah, I mean, I think it's good look there. Taysom Hill will play the entire field if he was allowed to. I take a team that consists entirely of Taysom Hill over the Jets any day.
Not wrong.
Great comment. He says F Swiss Army knife. All right, let's go to Aiden. Plus, Taysom won't take sacks because his rushing ability. I think it's a good point. It is between Waller, Taysom, and Rojo for a tight end and a flex, so it basically comes down to start Rojo or not. I think you definitely. I know this is a tough matchup for Rojo this week. It is. So I wouldn't blame you if you don't start him, but I think he is going to play well. All right. What if Taysom Hill flops in the first half? We brought that up, and then Winston comes in the second half. This is a wasted spot. All right. So that's a response to a question. Let's see if we got any more. Ronald Jones is scuttled against good defenses, and also to piggyback off of what you're saying, Aiden, if he didn't have that large run the last game, he probably would have had 5 points. But that 98 or 96 yard run he had, was huge, for his points. 4-4. Some players have been off on bad days, so that's Kaiser on Twitch's record. 4-4 is not bad. It depends on who's above you. Depends on how many teams, obviously, but
you're doing better than me.
Yeah, doing better than me in one of my leagues too. So shout out to you. Also, didn't have this team the whole season. Oh, so you inherited this team. Been making trades. How many people are in your league? All right. From an Eagles fan, I think he has the best perspective. Eagles have to let Miles Sanders run the ball more than 15 times. Texting Doug Peterson. Yeah, hit him up for me too, and make sure you tell him that you need to start Jalen Hurts the rest of the year. Text him that too.
Oh, hot take!
Oh,
Wow.
Hey, look, I'm a Cowboys fan, so I want to see Jalen Hurts. I'm a Jalen Hurts fan, and Carson is Carson, so I'll leave it. 7 people. It's a friend league, looking to do more leagues next year, but that was my first league this year. They invited me, so I joined. And maybe going into next year, we can start our own league, with the listeners and the people in. I think that'll be a great idea for us to start that up. All right. Jesus Lopez, James Conner, or Antonio Gibson. Okay. Let's. Antonio Gibson is a hit or miss for me.
So I'm going to go James Conner. And I'm saying that because Jacksonville kind of has like that sneaky defense, but I really do believe Connor has more of an upside when it comes to him having the ability to get more touches. He'll have a good offensive line to go under. He has got a lot of opportunity to get some big games. Antonio Gibson, I'm just worried that, what if Alex Smith doesn't do so well? They'll target Gibson and they might get after Gibson. So I'm going to stick with Connor.
Yeah, I agree. Anybody has a different answer?
I would go with Gibson. I just don't trust James Conner. I got him on my squad, and it's just by default because I don't have anybody else. But he's going up against Jacksonville. They rank 9th against the defense, but and Gibson he showed out against Baltimore, and I just think going against Cincinnati, which I think they were 27th or 26th against the run, he'll get his opportunities because they will have an aerial threat, or they'll have a respectable aerial threat, which will allow him to catch the ball out of the backfield and also run the ball as well. So him and McKissick, that's the other person I couldn't remember, but I'll go with Gibson instead.
Okay. All right. Anybody pick Gibson? Anybody else pick Gibson?
I have Gibson, and it's not always been great games, but even with him splitting carries, I've gotten good production out of him. I picked him up right before he played Dallas because I'm going to pick up any running back playing Dallas that's available. So, but no, I've had no issues with him. I like him.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Any running back playing against Dallas will definitely get 100 yards. That's
except for Connor.
Might as well pencil it in. And Connor is
Connor.
Yes, and Connor is the goal line back, so he's gonna get the ball to the goal line. So Ray Gamer says Connor. Mocha Bella says, "Hey, Jelani and Jordan." So shout out to you guys.
What's up,
Mocha?
Aiden, shutting it down right here. Fuller is one of the most consistent receivers in the league. Touchdown pass in 6 games, if I can remember that correctly. Tough to just sit him now, even against the Pats. Okay, all right. We'll be put in the comments, on Sunday to say I told you so, or to say you guys were right, one or the other. So we'll see what happens. Godwin doesn't have a great matchup either against the Rams. Yeah, I agree there. But like Jelani said, who is Jalen Ramsey going to be on? That's a question. So we'll see. I like Fuller this week. Pats defense is not as good as last year. That's true. Very true. Courtney says Hurts is not ready. Carson still gives the Eagles the best chance to win games. Yeah. So that's why you need to put Jalen Hurts in. You can lose more games. I would love it. I mean, you guys have, look, I'm about to go on a rant on these Eagles real quick. You guys have the best opportunity to win the NFC East, and you're throwing it away. It doesn't make any sense. Like, you should be better than what you are. I'm not a fan of you guys, but you should be better than what you are. You should be winning this division single-handedly easy, and there shouldn't be any question marks of the Washington football team or the Giants with Danny Fumbles out there, running for 50 yards on you guys. Come on.
Can I say something? Let me go on a rant with just this whole NFC East or NFC least trash division, okay? So and Jelani, I'm sorry I have to pick on you, but listen, you could take Detroit's record, who is 4-5, and put them in first in that division. Now, just listen to what I just said. Detroit, first place winning division. Does that even belong in the same sentence right now, especially over the past couple of decades? I mean, shame on you, NFC least. Shame on you.
Yeah, they need to skip over that division. That's been my whole take for the half of the season. To skip over this division, pick somebody else that deserves to be in the playoffs.
I'll tell you what, my Broncos could at least, make it a competitive division. We're only 3-6, so we could win that division for God's sake.
True.
Hey, speaking of the Broncos, right quick, I have a little issue, a smidgen of an issue with the Broncos. John Elway, I know he's this Hall of Fame quarterback when he played, but John Elway, the GM, has been missing on quarterbacks for a while now. And I know the jury's still out on Drew Lock, but I honestly do not think he's the guy.
I will retort on that, Akeem. My patience with John Elway is getting thin. I will fully admit that right here, right now. I've got a good buddy of mine who's a 49ers fan, Alex Valdez, and he repeatedly texts me when the Broncos lose, hashtag fire Elway. I get to hear it from this guy more often than not, okay? So I know exactly what you're talking about. Now let's talk about Drew Lock, okay? You got to remember, this kid – so we're 3-6, and then we went. I think he had like 4 or 5 starts. So he has had less than a full season's game worth of starts. He has not been able to do OTAs, not been able to do preseason, not been able to do all that. So that's obviously affected him. We've got the youngest age in terms of skill set offensive players. So yes, I understand that Drew Lock has had a lot of issues in terms of being a quarterback this season, but I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt this year. Now, if he stinks up the joint next year, then yes, I will then say what I have to say about Drew Lock, but I will hold all reservations on Drew Lock until I get to see what happens next year.
Yeah. And I like Drew Lock. I think Elway has missed.
He's missed a lot of times.
He's missed a lot, but he did bring in an aging Peyton Manning at the very end. I mean, barely. If he would have got Peyton Manning 1 year, like 0.5 seconds after, it would have been disaster. But he got him at the perfect time. Okay, DraftKings League. Yeah, we can do a DraftKings League. That would be actually pretty dope. We can do that next week. Kaiser on Twitch says I got a guy that's 8-0. I'm in 3rd overall. Next highest is 4-5, so you definitely got a shot. Courtney is crying about his quarterback. That's my quarterback, Carson Wentz. Go ahead, get the tissues out. All right, Kaiser on Twitch. Well, I'm gonna head out soon. Thank you for coming through. He says I got one more question. Not a very high stakes, one that's not glamour position, but Jason Sanders or Young. I know that's not the way you say it, but that's the way it looks. Young Ho Koo of the Dolphins. So Dolphins kicker versus Dolphins kicker.
And just to clarify, he is for the Atlanta Falcons, Young Ho Koo.
I guess he's talking about maybe Is he an ex-Dolphins player? I mean, kickers, when it comes to kickers, it's honestly, it is truly a hit or miss. You don't know. You just don't know. But go ahead, Jordan, if you were going to say something.
I'm going to say Jason Sanders because I do like Tua a lot, and I think he will put up a lot of yards against the Denver offense, but I think it'll be enough to where Sanders will have plenty of opportunities for field goals, so I will stick with him as my kicker over Young Ho Koo.
Okay. All right, we lost Chris. Hopefully you're coming back. I don't know what happened there, but I would go with I would go with Sanders too. I think because of the reasons that you named. So I agree with you there.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Koo. Here's why. Although the Falcons' record is not that great, their offense still have moved the ball and allowed him to score points. Because I think Koo, if I remember correctly, I think he's like the 5th rated kicker right now in the league. Someone dropped him because they went in a bye week, and I immediately claimed him off waivers. And I dropped my kicker. I was like, "Get out of here! I'm done with you." And these are his stats for the past few weeks. After they came off their bye, or before their bye, they played Denver. He had 12 points. Carolina was 12. He had a stinker against Detroit too, but then he had Minnesota was 19, and then Carolina again 13. So, and then he had a game in there where he had 17. So majority of his games, he's been in double digits, and he's been putting up, running back numbers, if you will, low end running back numbers. So I would go with Koo because Atlanta's moving the ball. And I think in this game, they will have their hands full with New Orleans in the defense, and they'll run into some situations where, drives will stall out, and Koo would be the guy that, kick field goals, and instead of touchdowns, they're scoring field goals.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's see. Mokabella says, good evening, Ben. Thank you. Tyreek Hill and Will Fuller are very consistent in fantasy for standard leagues. Kaiser on Twitch says, I meant Dolphins kicker versus Falcons kicker. We got you. All right, we got Chris back. Welcome back. Yeah, we got you though. Not Dolphins versus Dolphins. No problem. All right. Noah Dronthal, I believe that is. Start Robbie Anderson or Gio in the flex. That's a good question.
Wow, that is a good question.
Here's the thing. It will not be the same for Robbie Anderson because Teddy is not playing. So I think just based on that alone, I think you got to go with Gio.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Gio too. The thing is with Robbie Anderson, while I really like him as a wide receiver, I just don't know about this other guy. I just don't know about the other guy. I really don't. Yes, they have a favorable matchup against the Detroit Lions, but Detroit might as easily just terrify that Carolina quarterback so much that he doesn't do, SHIT for this team. So I will go for Gio specifically against this Washington football team that I know. I'm sorry, Gio for the Bengals that I know will at least put up a decent amount of points against this Washington football team.
Yeah. All right. Anybody disagree?
No, I'm going Gio.
Yeah, and I don't even. Does anyone know who's starting for the Panthers? Is it Will Grier or PJ Walker? I haven't heard anything yet.
Let's see.
Let me get a confirmation.
If I had to guess, I'll say PJ Walker.
Yeah, that's Matt Rule's guy from Temple. So.
Mm-hmm.
All right, NFC East, the tank division. Yes, it is the worst division as of right now. I know the Steelers and Ravens play on Thanksgiving night. Looking forward to Thanksgiving, that game. Yeah, that's going to be a great game. Great matchup. Just shout it out, Jordan, when you got it. Thank you for looking that up.
Yeah, for sure.
I'd rather have Sam Darnold than Drew Lock if I am in the in the Broncos position. Well, Sam Darnold may be out of there by the end of the year. So, Aiden, you may get your wish.
Hey, Teddy Bridgewater is going to be a true game time decision. He did get in some practice today. So there's optimism, but, that might be coach talk for, we're smoke and mirrors, but they at least said he got some practice time in.
Yeah, I'm just reading this from Fantasy Pros. It sounds as if Bridgewater will get a chance to test out his knee during Sunday warmup. So whether or not he's able to play, the fact that we're talking about him testing out his knee, for me personally, just going back to Gio versus that Robbie Anderson question, there's just so much uncertainty with this game right now. I really need to stick it out with Giovanni Bernard. I really do.
Yeah. Yeah, and Gio's just one of those guys that gets his, man, no matter what. And, and I don't know what the deal is with Mixon. Mixon, the last time I checked, was out this week. So
he's on IR. They placed him on IR.
So that definitely works out. All right, let's see if we got any more questions. At least they aren't the Bears that took Trubisky over Watson. And, yeah, horrible decision. And I'm a North Carolina fan. There's like 15 North Carolina football fans, and I'm one of them. And even I didn't want Trubisky. Even I thought that was a huge mistake about them picking Trubisky. So I agree there. Tua will be in the red zone and get field goal opportunities while the Falcons will struggle against the Saints defense. Moga says, I have Buckner as my kicker. That's a great option. Somebody says Will Lutz.
Also
Geos.
a good option.
Yeah, Will Lutz is definitely a good option. Sugar honey iced tea. I don't know. I don't know what that means. Maybe you were you're watching another video and you put that in here. I don't know. All right, Ray Gamer, thank you for coming through. He says PJ Walker was good in the XFL. He definitely was. I think he won. Did he win the MVP? I don't know if they had an MVP.
He was headed
would've.
he
Yeah.
would have, but they ended the season.
Yeah, the
early.
end of the season. I have never seen such an in-depth talk on which kicker you were starting. But I mean, you got to do what you got to do. hey, you asked the question. We could give you an in-depth.
Hey, we
answer.
take all fantasy questions, no
Right.
matter how complex or how small.
I need any points that I can get from anywhere.
All right, so Aiden, how do you feel about Joe Mixon? How do you feel about Joe Mixon placed? I believe that's placed or places on IR. It depends on what type of IR it is. Is it IR for the rest of the year, or is it because they changed the IR this year? Is that it could be for, I don't know, 2 to 4 weeks or something? So
IR is at least 3 weeks. So he has to sit out for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
But it could be longer, like you say, because he was out before regarding his foot, and it doesn't seem like it's gotten any better. So for you to put him on IR after he's been out a few games, and then you're going to put him out for definitely another 3 games at least, just makes me question another guy.
I don't know. I'd rather just sit out Joe Mixon for the rest of the season. I mean, it's like the Christian McCaffrey situation. I just think at this point in time, the Bengals aren't going anywhere. The Panthers aren't going anywhere. Why waste a potential for Mixon and McCaffrey just to have a healthy, take the time that you can to get healthy and just get yourselves ready for next season.
Yeah. Kodger says he was an ex-Colts practice star on PJ Walker. Here goes a good one here as we round out towards the end of the show tonight / this morning for some people. Jonnu Smith or TJ Hawkinson. And look, Jonnu Smith, I would fight him on the street. I would probably get whooped, but I would fight him on the street. This dude
probably
week,
Ben.
yeah, more than likely, yes. This dude has been horrible for me in fantasy, man. I'm like, what? I every single week I'm like, oh, maybe this will be the week he'll have like negative points, and then the next week he'll get a touchdown, and then he'll go like 5 weeks with no points, and then he'll get a touchdown. I'm gonna go with Hawkinson, even though I don't know. Neither one of these are really great options, but I will go with Hawkinson.
I will too. Hawkinson has a favorable matchup against the Carolina Panthers. Jonnu Smith, this is the Baltimore Ravens defense, and I did say before on the show that the Titans have to rely on Derrick Henry if they are going to beat the Baltimore Ravens. So I would stay clear away from Smith, and I would actually go with Hawkinson because he does have touchdown potential in him.
Yeah, I agree. Anybody disagree?
Yeah, I have Jonnu Smith as my tight end as well, and he's been abysmal. I don't know what TJ Hawkinson's been doing, but I would still roll with him based on the production I've been getting from Jonnu Smith.
Yeah.
I would, yeah. I'm going to lean towards TJ. What scares me about TJ is Stafford. He has that ligament damage in his throwing hand from last week. And they're saying that he's still going to play, but being a Lions fan, I know Matthew Stafford is hard-headed and he doesn't listen. And he's like, I'm good. And then one sails over, somebody's head and he's like, I'm good, because he's such a, competitor. So that just scares me, just like how bad is that ligament, in your throwing hand, because you already know it can just be off just a little bit. And that's the difference between a turnover and, completing the ball. But I'll roll with everybody on that and still roll with Hawkinson.
I just feel so bad for Matthew Stafford because he really is a wonderful quarterback if you really look at him. It's just unfortunate that the Detroit Lions for a while have disrespected this man by not putting any talent around him besides Calvin Johnson for a couple of years. And he retired early because of how awful it is to play for that Detroit team. No offense, Jelani.
Yeah.
None taken.
And they just now gave him a running back. They actually gave him two. They provided him with an aging AP, which is still decent, and they got DeAndre Swift. But before that, there was just a whole bunch of guys that either couldn't stay healthy or were just not top tier running backs. And I'm sure you can agree with that.
Garbage.
Yes.
Okay, I think Matt Patricia's the problem over there in Detroit.
Yeah, he is too.
Jelani, you agree? Are you ready for Matt Patricia to go?
Oh, I already have his stuff packed.
We have the worst guests ever. You know, I don't say that about guests. We have COVID-19 that came in here. COVID?
Oh, wow.
Whoever this is.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
That's just wrong, man.
You got to use a different name, man. And he says, "Oh hell no, get out of here, COVID-19."
All right. I guess we all have to stay quarantined for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. All right, Hawkinson. You've taken too much. You won't take YouTube. Good point. All right, a question from Aiden. This may be the last one here. What teams currently not in the playoffs as of today do you see making the playoffs? And which teams do you see falling out of playoff spot that currently have one? That is a great question. Aiden with the loaded questions. That's a good one there.
Let's see.
So let me get the playoff picture here.
Yeah.
Yep. Off the top of my head,
currently not in the playoffs that would make the playoffs.
So off the top of my head,
and we have to remember though, there's going to be an extra spot.
That's true. 3 wild cards.
True.
I think the New York Giants are going to make the playoffs.
Ooh.
Oh, wow.
You know, I just I've been watching how they've been playing. I think Joe Judge is doing a good job over there, and the New York Giants lack talent, but he's a good coach, and he has them playing sound fundamental football. And because of that, and because of how erratic the rest of the division looks, I believe the Giants right now will win that NFC East.
All right, the team I would say that's in it and will probably not be in it, I would say looking at it right now, this may be a shocker, but New Orleans. I think New Orleans may not be in it when it's. Well, I know they got their 7-2.
Ooh.
Who knows what's gonna happen the rest of this year? That's a hot take right there. The other one I would say is the Rams, just because they got a tight division with them themselves, Seattle and Arizona.
So I'm looking at the playoff picture right now. Just to recap, everybody, so far in the AFC, you got the Pittsburgh Steelers with the number 1, number 2, Kansas City Chiefs, number 3, Buffalo Bills, number 4, Indianapolis Colts, number 5, Las Vegas Raiders, number 6, Miami Dolphins, number 7, Baltimore Ravens. In the hunt, you've got the Tennessee Titans, the Cleveland Browns, and the New England Patriots, of all things, who I don't expect to be here when it's all said and done. I got to be 100% honest. I really do not know about the Indianapolis Colts. I don't, because Phillip Rivers can be – this Indianapolis defense is great. I do like some of the running backs, but I really don't know about Phillip Rivers. He could have a great game one day, and he could have a bad game the other. Now, I also feel the same way about the Baltimore Ravens. But I do believe they have a little bit of a more favorable schedule when it's all said and done. So I'll leave the Baltimore Ravens in there. But I think the Colts are out, and I think the Titans are in. I don't trust the Browns whatsoever, and I don't trust the New England Patriots. And then on the NFC side, number 1 is Green Bay Packers. Number 2 is New Orleans Saints. Number 3, Arizona Cardinals. Number 4, Philadelphia Eagles. Number 5, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Number 6, Los Angeles Rams. Number 7, Seattle Seahawks. I have said this time and time again. I just think the Los Angeles Rams, in my opinion, don't have that offense that I'd like in terms of a playoff team. Now, I look at some of these other teams in the hunt, and I really don't like any of these teams either. If you gave me like a team that I might roll the dice on, and it's going to sound absolutely crazy when I say this, but I do think the Detroit Lions may have a chance to get into the playoffs.
Whoa.
Because I think for all of these teams right here, the Bears don't have an offense. The Vikings, I really don't trust Kirk Cousins. And the 49ers are just an absolute mess. They're an absolute mess. So if you gave me one of those 4 teams in the hunt, I'm actually going to pick the Detroit Lions.
Why you look so depressed?
Because this is exactly what the Lions would do, and then Patricia would be back next year. This is what would happen. It's like you got them at the door, and you're about to swing it open, and then they'll go Wayne Fonts, and they'll go on a run, and they'll get into the playoffs, and then Patricia say, "See, I told you. It only took 3 years, but I finally figured it out," and then they'll bring them back.
Could happen that
Jordan.
way.
Thanks.
Could happen that way.
You're welcome.
All right, Chris.
I mean, the way they've been playing, honestly, Baltimore, I can see dropping out. Just with the quarterback it's the main position. He has to do that better, and he's not. I can see Tennessee taking their spot. NFC, I don't know. It seems like some of those teams are kind of locked in. It's kind of the weaker side right now than the AFC. So I think the NFC pretty much might stay how it is. Maybe, the Rams fall out, but I don't know.
That's a good question, though. That's a good question. All right, anybody else want to add on to that?
Falling out, I would pick the Rams. Yeah. Jared Goff goes into Seattle and can't put up 400 yards like everybody else. And I just think, and I just don't think it's enough room for 3 NFC West teams. I think the Seahawks and Kyler for the Arizona Cardinals, they've been playing well. So I got the Rams in the NFC. The AFC is tough, but if I had to pick anybody, normally, but this would get me beat up by Mocha Bella, I would say Miami. But everything I've said against Miami and question Brian Flores, I stopped questioning him this year. He has been making the right move. So when he pulled Ryan Fitzpatrick, when he pulled Ryan Fitzpatrick, I said, you know what? He sees some vision. He sees something. Because last year, when they were dumping all these players, I was questioning it. And he was just changing the culture, and he was getting, his folks in. So I would, say that the Dolphins, continue and probably, the Colts. The Colts will figure out a way not to make the playoffs.
Yeah. I think on Phillip Rivers, putting that trust on Phillip Rivers, I think is going to be too much.
It's a recipe for disaster. Yeah. It's a recipe. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
See, the monkey wrench is COVID, because if things are not lining up how it's supposed to, they're thinking about adding yet another playoff team to the equation. So that would really make things interesting, and I'm curious to see when the NFL will make that decision on allowing yet an 8th team in the playoffs, depending on what happens with the pandemic.
Yeah.
Well, if they do add an 18, then the Detroit Lions are guaranteed a playoff spot.
It could happen. It could happen, and they've talked about extending the season, which they kind of talked about that earlier, maybe earlier in the year, is adding another 2 weeks, because if we got games canceled, You're gonna have to play these games, sooner or later. What about Jerry Jeudy this week? I'm gonna let you answer that. That's from Mocha Bella. I'll let you answer that, Jordan.
So let's talk about Jerry Jeudy. This Miami defense is a very young, and this will to put some praise on this team. They have a very good defense. Drew Lock, I saw what he did against the Las Vegas Raiders, which was not a whole lot. And I know they're playing at home, but this Miami defense, I think, is going to be a really tough test for Drew Lock. So when it comes to Jeudy, he will get targets. In terms of receptions, I really don't know about his productivity, to be quite honest with you. I think it's not going to be the greatest game for Jerry Jeudy, in my opinion. I still think the Broncos will, and I know this is going to sound far-fetched here, but I think the Broncos will somehow eke a win, but Jerry Jeudy's not going to have a productive day.
Okay. Ray Gamer says, I used to have Jonnu, but I have TJ Hawkinson in a different league, picking TJ. Yeah, Jonnu has not been the guy this year. He said same here with you said about Jonnu. Yeah, we probably have to team up. So me, Akeem, and Ray Gamer, and then maybe we can possibly get him to the ground, but I don't know. He's a big dude. Mahomes is my homie. I like
he is
that.
the best goddamn quarterback on the planet.
Ray Gamer. Can't wait to watch the Sunday night game. That's going to be a good one. The Lions are like Flex Seal in a bucket with holes. They fix one hole, but then another shows up, and they have to run to the store and grab a new bottle of Flex Seal. Good point. I like that. All right, let's go. Taryn Rodriguez. Shout out to Taryn Rodriguez, IU Sports Radio. And look, I know it's getting late, guys. If you guys do have to go, you're not hostage or anything. If y'all got to run out, just let me know. But Dan Goddard or Logan Thomas, two NFC least tight ends. Good question.
I, just because of the matchup, I would venture to go with Logan Thomas in this one.
Logan.
I would say I don't know here. I'm actually going to go with Goddard. I went the Logan Thomas route one time, and it didn't really work out for me.
But Ben, remember, Alex Smith was not the quarterback though. Yeah. Alex Smith is the quarterback now.
True.
That might be his guy.
Maybe. Let's look at last week. Logan Thomas had 8 points. Okay.
Yeah. See what my Lions do? They mess everything up.
Logan Thomas or Daniel Goddard. Anybody got a coin? Quarter.
Really, you might as well. All right, Chris, what do you say?
Heads or tails?
Yeah, exactly.
You might as well. Let's see. Mocha says, Ben, you didn't want to hear that about the Giants. No, I don't. But they may get in. It may happen. Easy still watching the fight. Even COVID has a YouTube account. Yes, COVID has a YouTube account.
Spreading everywhere. Watch out.
Spreading his love to all places. Cardinals have a favorable schedule going forward. They'll at least be 9-7, maybe 10-6. I agree with you there. I love Kyler Murray. I think he's a great young player, and absolutely nobody can catch this guy. I'm exaggerating when I say this, but I haven't seen the guy get tackled. Like, it seems like when people are close to him, it's just like he hits like another gear. I want to see what this guy's 40 time is, because he didn't run the 40 because he didn't go to the combine. So
you're not exaggerating at all.
I just haven't seen this guy get tackled.
I'll be 100% honest. I'm just looking at the Cardinals' schedule right now. They could easily win this whole thing out because they've got the Patriots coming up next. I think that's a win. The Rams, I think that's a win. The Giants, that's definitely a win. Eagles, oh, that's definitely a win. Shout out Courtney Harden. 49ers, definitely a win. And I think the Rams, that could be their loss, but I could easily see this team going 12-4 or 13-3 when it's all said and done. I really feel I felt a lot. I get it. They just lost against Seattle, but they did just beat Akeem's Buffalo Bills, last week. So I hold that as a high value win for this Cardinals team.
I'm not sold on Cliff Kingsbury as a head coach. I think he will be out coached multiple times the rest of the season, and they will lose a couple more games.
Here's my follow up to that. I don't even think his coaching matters because Kyler Murray is going to figure out a way to win the games. I don't like Kingsbury. I think he got gifted a head coaching job after not being able to coach at Texas Tech in one of the worst conferences in college football. But that's a whole nother story for another day.
With, fun fact, Patrick Mahomes is his quarterback.
Exactly. All right, good question here. What about the Raiders? Does anyone trust the Raiders going forward? Other than the Chiefs, they have somewhat a favorable schedule.
Listen, Teron, my AFC West buddy, as a Broncos fan, for me to talk, for me to praise the Raiders right now, that makes me want to throw up. I really want to throw up. But I actually do trust the Raiders to make the playoffs this year. It pains me to say it, but I believe that's what's going to happen.
Yeah. I would say no. I do not trust the Raiders just because they haven't really been consistent. Now they are 6-3. I'll give them that. But I don't trust them. I think they got to prove more to me, as the season goes along. We'll see what happens. Chris?
No, same. They're hit or miss. They brought in too many old Cowboys players, it seems like. And they kind of turned into those Cowboys from like 3 years ago. It's the way they seem to me.
Yeah, the fact that they picked up a phone and they called Jason Witten and said, "Yeah, we want you to come over and play tight end for us in whatever capacity you possibly can." The fact that they did that is questionable. For that reason alone, it's questionable. He's done.
I like the Raiders, man. Okay. I like what Mike Mayock and what John Gruden has been able to do. I like their theme. They get big, fast, physical football players, man, and Henry Ruggs and Josh Jacobs. They have a lot of weapons over there in Oakland. I'm not particularly sold on the first round 4th pick overall they selected, but I really like the Raiders team. I think they have a good nucleus, and looking at the schedule with the Jets and the Falcons and the Chargers and the Broncos and the Colts in the schedule, I think that's a winnable schedule for the Oakland Raiders, man. I like their pieces. I think they're going to be all right.
Okay. All right, Jelani, you want to add anything on to that?
No, that was good. I'm in agreement.
All right. Appreciate you, Aiden. Aiden says he's getting out of here. Thank you for coming through. Said have a good night. So we will not be back, or at least I won't be on next week. That is Thanksgiving week, but we will be back on the 5th, and all you guys are welcome. So the door is always open.
I'm definitely coming. I got
it. I'm gonna go now to guys. I appreciate you, Ray Gamer, for coming through. All right, so looks like that is towards the end of the questions, man, which it was lighting up, man. It was like the lightning round on any game show that you've ever seen before. So I'm happy. I think it was a great show. All right, three last questions, sit or start, that I brought up on my own. Tom Brady or Carson Wentz? Everybody can just say it.
Tom Brady.
Carson Wentz.
Odd man out, Jordan. Gronk or Jonnu?
Gronk.
Okay.
Gronk.
Ronald Jones or Mike Davis?
Mike Davis.
Ronald
Mike
Jones.
Davis. I got both.
So you probably starting one in the flex then, or starting.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking about benching Ronald Jones. The guy swayed me. I don't think he plays particularly well against good defenses, so I'm not sure yet.
But Mike Davis, he's just been so inconsistent for me. He had like a one flash in the pan game, but that's all he's had so far. So I don't trust him.
It's tough. It's tough.
It's
Yeah.
tough.
You're about to get right tomorrow or later on today.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys for coming on tonight. Thank you all the viewers and listeners. My wife hasn't peeked in, so I guess I'm good for tonight. Normally she'll be like, "Hey, see what time it is?" But she must be busy, so that's a good look. One last thing, Terrence says Cowboys will be playing for the millionth time. Yes, they will.
So will Detroit.
So will Detroit, and then whoever else is, I guess, is a bonus. But it won't go away, Terrence. Sorry. They're going to be on to the end of time until they change the name, maybe in like 2000 or something.
I will say this. Thank God that the Lions and the Cowboys are playing in the morning and afternoon game, because we have a fantastic night game where the Ravens and Steelers will be playing each other.
Yeah.
Now, real quick, do you know why they do that?
No.
Tell us a story.
The reason why the Lions and the Cowboys always play, because when they first initially brought the idea to play on Thanksgiving, nobody wanted to, and everybody turned it down. And the Lions and the Cowboys were the only teams that agreed to play. And so since they were the only teams that agreed to play, they kept it as a tradition. Now it's profitable and everybody wants to get in. But so far, the NFL has kept that tradition as to keeping the Lions and the Cowboys on Thanksgiving, because it is a tradition. And then that's why they added the third game, to at least give the other teams the opportunity to play on Thanksgiving and their fans to see them play on Thanksgiving.
All right, my man Jelani for the history lesson. I learned something tonight. I appreciate that. All right, so at the end of each show, we kind of go around the horn, talk about what you guys have coming up this week in podcasting or life. So Jordan, I'll go to you first.
So with me, I've got the Keeping It 100 podcast now. We have been taking a little bit of a break just to do some personal stuff, so I don't know if we'll have an episode this week, but we'll definitely try to get our schedule back on track. Definitely, I would say right around Thanksgiving. But I'll also have DJ Storytime coming back into the fray, I believe, on next Saturday. And then the other important venture that I've been doing so far is my Forex trading venture that I just started back in early November. So I'm going to see how that goes. But I'll keep everyone updated on that.
Cool. All right, hey Rich, and I'm feeling the built-in Buffalo hat too, man.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. I really appreciate it, man. Maybe Jordan, maybe you could teach me some Forex, because I'm heavy involved in the stock market as well. Not necessarily Forex, but obviously the stock market. I trade options. I'm a big dividend investor, so maybe we could hook up sometime and you could teach me some things. Definitely.
My Facebook username is Jordan Rosario. Add me there, and we'll definitely talk.
Got you. But Rich Akeem Richens. I have a brand called Built in Buffalo, once again, where we keep up with all Buffalo Bills news, updates, and transactions. As far as podcasts, I have a show on Tuesdays called Bills Bunker. Is on all the social media platforms, so Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. Built in Buffalo, once again, is the brand name. You could look it up on any social media platform, and if you would kindly give me a subscribe to the channel, I would definitely appreciate it. And I hope I do more work with y'all in the near future, man. This was fun. I really enjoyed it. Ben, you have an awesome thing going, and I hope you keep it up. I know you will, and I appreciate the gentleman tonight. Thank you.
Definitely. The door is always open, man. Whenever you want to come on. Jelani, what you got coming up this week?
Oh man. Well, later on today, because I guess in about 6 hours it'll be official. My little princess will be 7, so she'll be probably telling me about that all day, about how old she is. But
Nice.
other than that, watching some football, getting ready for this week. 2 shows that I do, always Wednesdays and Saturdays. I don't know if I'll do one this Saturday because it's Thanksgiving weekend, all that. But Wednesdays on X Squad Radio Network, I do a show at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then also my show. Both of them are called The Wait a Minute Show. You can go on Saturdays, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on thewaitaminuteshow.com. And real quick, I'm running this toy drive that I'm pushing really hard. And I've been doing that probably almost 8 years now. And it's something that I just started, on my own. And I've used this podcast, really to get my voice out there and grab donations. And basically everything we do, it goes towards sponsoring a kid at a nonprofit organization called Helping Hands of Paulding County here in Georgia. And so each year we get some kids, find out what they want, and we've had some great success. We've gotten kids, Xboxes, TVs, and everything. And like one of the big highlights that we had a couple years ago, I sent the family to a Hawks game, and the Heat were playing the Hawks, and it was Dwayne Wade's last game in Atlanta, and they got to meet Dwayne Wade. So we had the whole family meet Dwayne Wade, talk with him for a little bit, and so he chopped it up with them. So that's what this thing is, all about that I do, for the toy drive for the weekend. So just pushing that on the waitaminuteshow.com. So if I can plug it real quick, if it's okay, Ben.
Yeah, no problem.
If anybody like to donate, or I even say just share it. I mean, share it with someone is just as good as donating if you can't donate. But all you got to do is go to the waitaminuteshow.com. At the very top of the screen, you'll see PayPal, Cash App, or GoFundMe. So you have 3 options that you can choose from. And like I said, all the money goes towards sponsoring the kid, find out what they want. And the great thing about it is that my toy drive, it goes from, infant to 18 years old, because what I found out back a long time ago was that a lot of kids, when they get into that teenage years, they get left out because a lot of people think that these kids are too expensive to afford, like they're going to want a car or something like that. But that's not the case. The kids I've come across, they'll want like a blazer jacket or just a gift card or some nail, art supplies or something like that, just to feed their craft, and that's what we do. We try and go out there and get, what it is. So if you can help, that's great. If not, that's great too. Just pass on the word. And that's all I can ask for. But the waitaminuteshow.com, the waitaminuteshow.com, the waitaminuteshow.com.
Definitely. I just put the link to the to the GoFundMe, so you guys can see that it's on YouTube. Also put it on Facebook. I'll be donating to it as well. When's the deadline for
December 19th is the deadline.
Okay.
Yep.
Nice.
Okay. All right. And Chris, what do you have coming up this week?
I mean, it's kind of our slow time, no tournaments, no nothing. So maybe spend some time with the wife, take the kid fishing. I don't know.
Nice.
Get some
Thanksgiving week coming up too.
Yeah, so try to kind of hide and get some peace, but not going to happen.
Hey, Jelani, I just had a potential teaser for your show on Wednesday. Since we're playing each other, do you want to do an episode together and talk about the results of that particular matchup?
On Wednesday?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll get with you and we'll fix something up.
All right. Stay tuned, audience.
All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in tonight, man. It was a great show. Great to have you guys on. Jordan, Rich, Chris, and Jelani. Again, the door is open. We'll be back. So no shows this week. Normally we do a Monday show and a Saturday show. So no shows this week, but we'll be back on the 5th doing the same thing. So you can bring your questions, bring your comments. Going to leave you guys with a word from our sponsor. The sponsor of today's show is Life of a Lifer podcast. Go to lifeofalifer.com. It's a podcast about people serving life or long terms in prison. Also, they have an EP out. So I'm gonna play this commercial from our sponsor, and we will be out of here. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for the questions. So have a good night. God bless. God is love. Peace. Hey, how's it going?
Have a good night, man.
This is Ben of BS3 Radio, and I wanted to share a podcast with you guys called Life of a Lifer, hosted by Designed Conviction founder Taylor Tom Conley, who was wrongly convicted at the age of 20 and is currently serving life in prison. This podcast tells the world about what happens to those serving long-term sentences in prison. Taylor opens up about his life with a unique perspective, one that you may not hear in the media, the human perspective, not only from himself, but he also invites others to share their stories and experiences. They talk about how they got there and what motivates them to keep living for a better tomorrow. So check out the Life of a Lifer podcast on the website, lifeofalifer.com. Also, you can listen to the podcast on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and other major platforms. Also, Design Conviction has a collaborative EP album with artist Seth Anthony. It's called Free Taylor. It was released on November the 7th, and it features Bubble Sparks and artist Burden. The music is a mixture of rap and rock, and the lyrics tell the story of Taylor's life, featuring great songs by Taylor himself. So you can check out the EP on Apple Music and Spotify. Check out this promo clip that gives you more detail on this EP.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Seth Anthony here. I have a really cool project coming up called Free Taylor EP. So anybody that's been following me knows I was incarcerated, I was in prison, I was an addict. So I like to reach people that went through the same things that I did. Taylor Conley reached out to me, and he had all these songs that he's written. He's doing life in prison. No way possible to make this thing come to life. So I thought it'd be a really cool project, but I took his songs and put my own spin on it. And between both of us working together, he has songs written on there. I wrote songs with him, and we have Burden, we have Bubba Sparks. We have a really, really cool EP, a cool project coming out. You know what I mean? Someone that's behind bars, man. So it means a lot to me. I know it's going to mean a lot to you guys. November 7th is coming out. Y'all check it out.